मैं पहला स्टूडेंट हूँ और मैंने उनसे कहा था कि within 3 years I must complete this. तो जानते हैं उन्होंने क्या कहा? बोले जॉन अभी तक का रिकॉर्ड है 5.5 साल का का। मैं कहूँ मुझको मैं तोड़ लूँगा। और तब मैं 16 नवंबर 86 में ज्वाइन करती थी और 17 नवंबर 89 में।
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the national seminar on millets, and hope you all had a good technical session and cultural evening yesterday. Today it's the second keynote session, which is on processing, value addition, and scaling up of abiotic stress management technologies. And for this session, we'd like to request Dr. U.S. Gautam, sir, TDG Agriculture Extension, ICAR, New Delhi, to chair the session, sir. And we request you to come on the dais. I also request Dr. Rajbir Singh, ADG, Agronomy, Agroforestry, and Climate Change. Okay. And rapporteurs for this session are Dr. S.S. Pawar, sir, and Dr. B.B. Gaikwad, sir. So please come on the dais. Thank you, sir. I'd like to request our director, Dr. K. Sami Reddy, sir, to felicitate the chairman of this second keynote session with a token of our love and appreciation. Sir, I request you to felicitate our rapporteurs also for the session. वो करेंगे. Thank you, sir. We have also with us online Dr. P.V. Baraprasad, sir, Director, Sustainable Intensification Innovation Lab, Kansas State University, USA. Sir, we welcome you virtually over here and welcome to the keynote session, sir. We'll begin formally soon.
Thank you.
Sir, Varaprasad garu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning.
Sami Reddy speaking.
It's nice to hear you. Nice to hear you.
Thank you very much for joining, and also I extend on my own behalf on behalf of the Niyasam Baramati, as well as the president of this SARAS, Society and Agricultural Research for Abiotic Stress, to this seminar from my institute, from our side. We are very happy to hear you, and thank you very much, sir. I don't want to take much time because you are. It is the midnight for you, and we don't want to take much time. Please, you can start, sir, your presentation. Of course, I request the chairman of this session. Chairman is Dr. U.S. Gautam. He is the Deputy Director General, Agriculture Extension, ICR. Actually, he will welcome, sir. After his brief remarks, you can start your presentation. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy, for welcoming to this place, and I welcome to audience Dr. Shatamade, Dr. Yadav, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Tiwari, and audience, our reporter, Dr. Pawar and Gaikwad. And in this, there is 4 speakers. I think Ashok Dalai is not here. So 3 will make a presentation, And this is a kind of very important session. If you see processing, value addition and scaling up abiotic stress management technology. Yesterday I was chair one session and there were 4 farmers participating that. And really they are concerned about the marketing and processing. So I think our learned speakers will focus on that particular processing, value addition and scaling up abiotic stress management, especially Dr. VP Bara Prasad, Director Sustainable Intensification Innovation Lab, Kansal State University, USA, then myself, then Dr. Sadamate, and I think there is one farmers presentations, Mr. Satya Sahib will also going to be present. So in brief, I welcome to Dr. Bara Prasad, and I request to please continue their presentation. I request Dr. Bara Prasad.
Praveen, please ask Vara Prasad sir to share his presentation.
Okay.
Okay, I heard you. Okay, great. Thank you. Are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Perfect.
And is it in the
Thank
full
you.
screen?
It's full screen, sir.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Namaskar and pranam to all of you. First, I would like to thank Dr. Samir Endigaru, the Director of NIASM, National Institute for Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati, and also to the Society of Agricultural Research on Abiotic Stress for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. Special thanks to Dr. Gurumurthy, physiologist at NIASM and currently a visiting scholar at Kansas State University. And I also wanted to thank the chair, Dr. Gautam, DDG Extension, co-chair, Dr. Singh, ADG, and the rapporteurs, Dr. Pawar and Dr. Gaikwad. So the topic given to me in the next 18 to 20 minutes, is the role of millets for climate resilience, nutrition, and health. Before I go into the details of my presentation, I would like to talk a little bit about Kansas State University. Kansas State University is located in Kansas, which is right in the middle of US. And within Kansas, Manhattan is located about 2 hours west of Kansas City. Population of Kansas is about 2.9 million. Economy is primarily dependent upon agriculture. We have a lot of agricultural cropland, but very little irrigated land. And Kansas State University is the first land-grant university established in 1863. And we currently have a student population of about 22,000. And Manhattan town itself has a population of 50,000 people. It's a small town. And Kansas is the largest producer of wheat in the country. About 20% of the wheat, 20 to 25% of the wheat in US comes from Kansas. And it is also the largest producer of grain sorghum. About 60% of the US sorghum comes in from Kansas. And College of Agriculture has always been ranked in the top 5 colleges in the US. So this will be the topic of outline of my presentation today. I will first talk to you about the challenges in our agri-food systems, about food security, nutrition security, health, and climate. And then I'll introduce you to the world of millets, the diversity of the millets, and also talk about their climate resilience, and also how they are highly nutritious and the health benefits and the medicinal value of millets. And then I'll summarize at the end. First, food insecurity. This is a global hunger map of 2021, published by World Food Programme every year. About 811 million people do not get enough to eat. And many of these people are in the regions of Africa and South Asia, including India. This is not counting the impact of COVID-19 and Russia war on Ukraine. And the new numbers for 2020 will add another 250 million people to this number. So about 1 billion people are suffering from food insecurity. And this is a malnutrition map of the world, also published by UNICEF and World Health Organization. About 144 million children under the age of 5 are malnourished or stunted, and most of them are in Africa, and several of them in Asia, especially in Southeast Asia, including India. And that accounts to about 21.3% of the children under the age of 5 are stunted. And this is the nutritional insecurity, especially the micronutrient deficiencies in the children under the age of 5, especially iron deficiency is widespread. More than 30% of the children under the age of 5 are suffering from anemia. And most of these children are in Africa and South Asia, including India. Other micronutrient deficiencies include vitamin A and zinc deficiency. And this is a map of human health, particularly of diabetes. At this point of time, about 537 million people suffer from diabetes. This imposes a significant economic cost of about 966 billion. About half of that is for treatment of the disease. And these numbers are expected to rise. Diabetes is a serious health concern in India, and the mortality rate continues to increase. India has the second largest number of diabetics, about 75 million people. And it accounts for about 1 in 7 of all adults with diabetes.
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Sir, your slides are not moving.
They're not moving?
Yes. Yes.
Looks like it's stuck, so. Can you
Yes,
see
sir.
now?
Fine, sir. Yes, sir.
Are they able to see them? Can someone from the conference centers
Swapnil?
confirm?
Swapnil, now its slides are moving?
Sir, you can unshare and reshare it.
Unshare and reshare. Now it's
Yes, looks like it's stuck there.
yes, sir. Now it's
I can see their screen. It's empty. Stop again and try again.
so.
Yeah, it's showed up.
Swapnil?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, not shared yet in our projector screen.
Is there something problem in projector?
No, sir, it's Praveen. आप यहाँ से बोलिए ना सर, क्या है? Sir, please hold on a second. We are checking it here at the projector screen.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
we can see it online. It came for a second and then went away. Yeah, okay, they can see it now. It went away now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Lisa, now it's okay there?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yes.
All right. It's now they went up. It went off. Yeah, it's okay now. It went off again. Your internet might be slow. They logged off.
Praveen, can you hear me?
They logged out. They can't hear us now. They're going to come back in, I guess. You guys were able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, they're back on.
Sir, we are also able to see the screen. Please continue.
Alisa, one thing you do, tell Praveen to make Varasar a spotlight.
It's okay, thank you. It's okay, I can see. They can hear us.
Sorry, please continue the.
All right, okay.
The slides are not showing also. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So I was talking about the diabetes. At present, about 537 million people suffer from diabetes, imposing a significant economic cost of about close to $966 billion towards the treatment. And these numbers are expected to rise. Especially, it is a serious health concern in India, with mortality rate increasing. India has the second largest number of diabetics, and it accounts for about 1 in 7% of all the adults. And next disease is the cardiovascular disease. This map shows you the percentage change in the cardiovascular disease death rate from 2010 to 2019. And these death rates have been significantly increasing, many parts of India in particular, which has significant rise from 2010 to 2019. And then another one is the cancer. Globally, 1 in 5 people develop cancer during their lifetime, and about 1 in 8 men and 1 in 11 women die. In 2020, there were 19.3 million cases of cancer, and about 10 million deaths occurred due to that cancer. And now let's move on to climate change. This map shows you the greenhouse gas emissions of the 4 major greenhouse gases: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and sulfur hexafluoride. The concentration of these 4 greenhouse gases have been significantly increasing. over a period of time. Currently, July 2023, the levels of carbon dioxide concentrations is close to 420 ppm, the highest so far. Because of this continuous increase in greenhouse gas emissions, there have been significant increases in the surface temperature changes around the world. The visual on the left shows you the temperature change in the last 50 years. When you compare the average of 1951 to 1978 with average of 2010 to 2019, the temperatures have increased anywhere between 0.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. And then on your right is the global surface temperature change from 1850 to 2020. And if you look at that, the annual temperatures have changed from about 1 to 2 degrees Celsius in most of the area. But last year, they were about 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer. India also has seen significant shift or increases in the rising temperatures. This is a map from 1910 to 2020. June 2029, Sydney particularly saw extreme heat, where the mean annual temperatures in India crossed about 26.5 degrees Celsius. Particularly if you look at the last year, from March to April 2022, India and Pakistan, many places in Indo-Gangetic Plains saw significant increases in temperatures as high as 47.2 degrees Celsius in the April, and many places around the world broke the record. And this year is also the same, 2023, about 35,000 cities around the world experienced extremely high temperatures and set record for the high temperatures. Drought stress also continues to increase in India. There were 23 major droughts during 1871 to 2015, and about 68% of the total sown area experiences some drought stress every year, impacting about 50 million people. And in India has seen extreme droughts over the last 2 decades. And this is a map of the precipitation again from March to April 2022, where we saw extreme dryness. And the precipitation in 2022 compared to the average of 1981 to 2010 ranged only from about -20% to -100% in some regions. So India experiences extremely high drought in April and May 2022. This year also was not new. Because of that, there was significant impact on food prices and food produce as well. In future, both the mean temperature and the occurrence of these extreme events will continue to increase, and that is going to have a significant impact on our agri-food systems. So not only climate change will have the impact on agri-food systems due to increased global surface temperature, extreme weather disasters, precipitation extremes, sea level rises, and changes in the growing season. They also impact human health, heat-related illness, cardiovascular, strokes, injuries, mental and neurological impacts, and the zoonotic vectors and the waterborne diseases and respiratory diseases such as asthma due to increased allergens are also going to increase. So that was the current status of food security, nutritional security, health status, and the climate change. Now a little bit about the world of millets and how they are important for food, nutrition, and climate security. Millets is a group of species, not just one species. I'm showing you the major millets, which is jowar, bajra, and ragi. And there are several minor millets like foxtail, little, kodo, barnyard, and prosa millet. In addition to that, we also have other millets, which are brown top millets, Adelaide millets, Guinea millets, Polish millet, Japanese millet, Taiwan oil millet, Fonio millet, Sonoram millet, and also teff. And there is a lot of large genetic diversity and species diversity in millets, which are all key for food, nutrition, climate, and water security, and also for agribusinesses and resilience. So now let me talk a little bit about the climate resilience of the millets. When you compare millets in terms of the total water requirement, it's extremely low. I'm showing you here the water requirement of the major cereals: rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, finger millet, pearl millet, and other millets. Millets have very low water requirement, anywhere ranging from 250 to 450 millimeters of water, compared to rice, which needs more than 1200 to 2500, wheat close to 1000, maize close to 800. So it's extremely low water requirements and can be grown in the harsh environments. Not only that, but millets are also the most heat tolerant crop. I'm here showing you the temperature response curves for major cereals and legumes. If you look at it, I'm showing you the harvest index data on your y-axis and the mean daily temperature on the x-axis. If you look at the ceiling temperature, meaning the temperature at which the harvest index is 0, that means there is no grain yield for that particular crop. So sorghum and millet has the highest daily mean temperature, ceiling temperature, sorghum at 38 degrees Celsius, and pearl millet at 41 degrees Celsius, compared to wheat, which is 31, and rice, which is 35. So among cereals, pearl millet is the most heat tolerant crop. Not only that, millets also have extremely high micronutrients, vitamins, and antioxidants. Here I'm showing you the fiber, protein, fat, and minerals and the carbohydrates of the various millets and comparing it with rice. So when you look at the fiber content, pretty much all the millets have high fiber content. They also have high protein, high fat, and high minerals, and they have almost equal or a little less total carbohydrates when you compare with other particularly rice and wheat. And here I'm showing you the micronutrients and other important elements, comparing millets and the brown rice on your left and the millets and the maize on your right. If you look at all the items, folate, copper, polyunsaturated fat, iron, fiber, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, potassium, and vitamin B3, they're all high in millet compared to that of brown rice. And if you compare with the white rice, that numbers are going to be even significantly higher. And they also are better than the maize system as well. So they are good in everything when you compare with other cereals such as rice, wheat, and maize. And here I'm showing you some of the data on the human impact. This work was done by Anita et al. From ACROSAT. They looked at the acceptance and the impact of millet-based midday meals on the nutritional status of the adolescent school-going children in peri-urban regions of Karnataka in India. So they compared fortified rice and sambar, fortified rice with sambar, and various millet-based food. Pearl millet khichdi, finger millet idli with sambar, pearl millet upma, pearl millet bisibelabat, finger millet upma, pearl millet ragi poha. When you compare all of these, protein, total fat, and fiber content was always high in the meal which contained millets. Not only that, but also they were high in iron and zinc as well. So the millet-based meals were acceptable and had higher micronutrients, particularly iron and zinc, which is this deficiency is very prominent in the children under the age of 5 and in women. So when they fed those children with the millet meals, they also saw that there was a significant change in the height and also significant change in the weight of the children when the millet diet was introduced or they were there. And this was also done by Anita et al. They did a meta-analysis. That means they did all the analysis of the data which was existing in the literature, which looked at the impact of millet diet on the height change and on the weight change. So it's not a result of one particular experiment, but a complete meta-analysis which showed positive impact of millet-based diets on the height of the children and also on the weight of the children. And in addition, they also did another paper where they looked at they did a systematic review and the meta-analysis of potential of millets in managing and reducing the risk of diabetes. And they compared the millet versus the rice or the wheat diet. And then if you look at the glycemic index of various millets, it is significantly lower than rice and wheat. Some of those, for example, teff has 36.6, barnyard millet 42, fonio 42, foxtail and others have very low glycemic index when you compare that with rice or wheat, which is more than 70. So when these meals were fed, this again, it's a meta-analysis, the meaning that all the data which is existing in the literature, they did a meta-analysis and showed that millet-based diet was more favorable because they were able to reduce the glycemic index. Not only that, but also they saw a significant reduction in the HbA1c levels when the people were fed with millet-based things. So that means it shows that the value of this in terms of decreasing the diabetes. And the millets are so diverse and can be grown under various climatic conditions all over India, all the way from Jammu to Kanyakumari, from Manipur to Gujarat. These are the different various types of millets which can be grown under different agroecological zones. And it's a very ancient crop, 3000 BC, and currently grown in about 131 countries. And then the top 5 states in India are Rajasthan, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. So in summary, these millets, they are very climate resilient in terms of heat tolerance, drought tolerance, micronutrients, high micronutrients, and also they require low nutrients, particularly NPK. They also resilience to many pests and diseases. They also require very low inputs. That's the climate resiliency of them. And then in terms of nutrition, they are high in fiber, micronutrients, vitamins, antioxidants, amino acids, and energy. And they have a significant health benefits of being gluten-free, low glycemic index, negative impacts on diabetes, and height and weight gain for children when they are fed with millet diet, and also increases the immunity. And overall, it's well-being for the people and the livelihoods because they are very resilient. There's a lot of diversity, and they bring a new market value, and they can be increased income, and they also require less water and low greenhouse gas emissions. However, it is very critical that we'll link farmers with the markets, and they should be given competitive prices. When the demand for millets is increasing, we need to ensure that the farmers, poor farmers, especially smallholder farmers, are getting competitive price. And there is a need for do more research on the bioavailability of these micronutrients and other antioxidants and amino acids. And also work on anti-nutrients is required because millets do have some anti-nutrients. We'll have to look at what those negative impacts are and then compare with the positive impacts. And also research on human subjects and for direct impact on the benefits of health is very limited at this point of time. As you can see from those meta-analysis, there's not many research or papers available in the literature, and that's needed. So before I close, I would like to introduce you to a Sustainable Intensification Innovation Lab and how sustainable agriculture intensification provides systems and a transdisciplinary research to address climate, food, nutrition, and water security around the world. So the goal of sustainable ag intensification is to provide access to safe, nutritious, healthy food at all times to all people from existing farmland without damaging our natural resources and ecosystem health. In fact, there is more emphasis now to have not only not damage it, but actually regenerate. Therefore, the whole concept of regenerative agriculture. It has 3 main components: genetic intensification, focused on higher yields, resilience to pests and diseases, resilience to climate change, improved nutrition, medicinal value, and both traditional breeding methods and the improved precision breeding, genomics and molecular methods are included. The second one is agroecological intensification, focused on diversified systems, cropping and farming systems, improved agronomy, efficient soil water management, efficient agricultural practices and input use, integrated nutrient, water, pest and soil management, and also weed management. And the third one is socioeconomic intensification, developing new markets, creating new markets, building social capital, creating sustainable livelihoods, understanding the barriers of adoption, and creating enabling environment and institutional building. And then the new tools of digital, geospatial, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, precision ag, mechanization, microbiome, entrepreneurship, income generation, and private sector engagement cuts across all of those 3 domains. Basically, what it provides us an interaction of G by E by G, interaction of genotype, environment, and management by social, In brief, we call it G by E by M by S, which is GEMS, and Youth, Gender and Communication and Data Sciences integral part. To do this type of research, it would require systems thinking and transdisciplinary research and convergence of biological, agricultural, ecological, food science, and social sciences. And our innovation lab addresses all of these. It is one of the largest innovation lab in the United States. We have active programs in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Caribbean. I don't have time to talk more details about it, but I'll encourage you to look at our website. And then we have presence in about 13 countries around the world. Currently, we are active in Cambodia, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Malawi, Senegal, Burkina, Niger, Mali, Ghana, Haiti, Honduras, and Guatemala. And we have more than 135 scientists and collaborate with more than 150 organizations, including 12 US universities, 7 CGIAR organizations, and we have supported master's, bachelor's, and PhD for 220 students across the world. And if you would like to learn more about us, please look at our website and follow us on our social media. I would be glad to answer any questions. Once again, thank you so much for giving me this fantastic opportunity to speak to you today at this international seminar. Sorry for the inconvenience of the small glitch in the visuals, but hopefully you were able to hear and see me. Again, thank you so much to Dr. Samir Edigaru, the director, and the Society for Agricultural Research and Abiotic Stress. Thank you, Dr. Gautam, DDG, the chair of this particular session. I'll be glad to take any questions if that is allowed. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Dr. Balprasad, for excellent presentation covering the details of about millets and how millets take care about the health of the North India in the world. So thank you very much. And I request audience, if any questions, from the audience? Yeah, Dr. Yadav.
Good morning, Vara.
Yes, Dr. Yadav, yes.
My question is that yesterday we had a lot of discussion how to really take millets to the different parts of the world. And this point was basically flagged by our Honorable DG, who was with us for the whole day. How about, the millets, particularly palm millet, which is a major millet in India? What are the plans of the United States to really upscale its production as a food crop? I know it's being used as a feed crop and a bird seed crop, but as a food crop, what is the plan of US?
Great. Thank you very much for that excellent question. I think you raise a very important point that how can we increase the productivity and production of pearl millet in particular in the United States? It is getting a lot of importance, primarily because of the health and nutritional benefits. And particularly with this year, 2023, being celebrated as International Year of Millets, there has been more visibility for this particular crop, not only in the United States, but also several places across the world, including Europe, and also many countries in Far East, including Japan, Australia, and other places. So to address that, there are very few programs in US which have an entire program on pearl millet. At Kansas State University, we are encouraging, or we are focusing on the nutritional value of millets, particularly health benefits, because in US also there's a lot of people suffering from celiac disease. Hopefully you're able to hear me. Looks like my photo on the screen is frozen, but hopefully you're able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think because of the gluten-free nature of this, it's going to have a positive impact. So I truly believe that it will increase. And I just want to give you an example of quinoa, because nobody knew quinoa about 10, 15 years ago. But 2014 or 2013 was declared by UN as the International Year of Quinoa. And after that, there were so many industries which came up, and the marketing and also demand for that increase. And I truly believe that pearl millet in particular, and also finger millet and teff would be the next quinoas of the world.
Thank you. And I think next question, Dr. Rajveer, you want to say?
Good morning, Dr. Bala Prasad, the esteemed member of our discussion in Delhi during International Millet Day we celebrated in Feb.
Yes.
My question, I have a small question. You're talking about genotype into environment into management, and you introduced the term social.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put some light on this parameter as a social parameter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for asking that particular question, because over many years, we have been just focused on G by E, genotype by environment. And then more recently, people are also thinking about the M, which is G by E by M interaction, which is very popular and has been used significantly. But we know that it's an adoption of these technologies, not a lack of technologies, which is an issue. It's an adoption and scaling at a level where it can have an impact on food and nutrition security of the world is a major issue. So that's where the social component of this comes into picture. And when we talk about socioeconomics, people just stop by just economics. But social science is more than just economics. It's about the human behavior, the science of adoption, the science of scaling, and how and when farmers make a decision to adopt. And also after some years, they actually disadopt as well. So what are those reasons behind that? And also human and institutional capacity, which plays a significant role in scaling and creating enabling environment. And let's not forget the policies as well. Policies also are significant and very important. So all of these components fall under the social dimension of this G by E by M by S interactions.
Thank you, Dr. My next question is, you talked about sustainable intensification in case of millets. So,
Yes, sir.
large tract of rain-fed area in the country. What are the suggestions for intensification for as far as millet is concerned?
Absolutely. Great question again. So when I talk about sustainable agricultural intensification, the whole idea is to increase the productivity and the production from existing farmland without having negative impacts on our natural resources and ecosystem services. So that's the whole concept of sustainable ag intensification. So specifically when it comes to millets, whether you all the way from sorghum to pearl millet to finger millet to teff and fonio, if you look at the amount of inputs provided for these crops, when you compare that particularly with maize or corn, is very little. And I would just wanted to mention about the sub-Saharan Africa, because pearl millet or millets are, many of those millets are also, in addition to India, the center of origin for those is in sub-Saharan Africa, whether it is West Africa, East Africa, or Southern Africa. And if you look at those areas, the input level, particularly when it comes to nutrients, it's very low. In sub-Saharan Africa, currently, the farmers only apply about 30 kilograms of nutrients to all of their major cereal crops, and they do not apply anything to their millets, very little, less than 10 kilograms per hectare in terms of N, P, and K combined together. So therefore, we really need to develop a more prescriptive and site-specific fertilizer or nutrient management strategies. That's number one. And also, if you look at spacing, the spacing given for these crops is very high. In pearl millet, it's 1 meter by 1 meter in many places in sub-Saharan Africa. So that needs to be changed as well. So we need to improve upon the planting density, number one, and then also improve upon the nutrient management, number two, going beyond NPK into micronutrients as well. And then also we need more herbicide options, particularly in the United States, because Dr. Yadav was asking how can we improve production and productivity of pearl millet and other crops in US. They really would like to have a better herbicide management option, because there's lots of weeds issues for this crop in US and other developed countries. So those would be a couple of them in terms of agronomy, but also in terms of genetics, we also have a tremendous opportunity for intensification, because right now the double haploid capacity for development of double haploids for millets is not there, but for corn and wheat it is well established. So we need to be thinking about that. And similarly, the transformation for millet is very low. There is some success shown for transformation for millets and sorghum. There is a couple of lines which have been recently identified, so we need to be thinking about that as well. And the last item for genetic intensification is the speed breeding. We need to think about how can we, because it's not acceptable to take 12 years to release a new variety, and we need to have speed breeding options so that we can generate new varieties and hybrids sooner. So those are just some examples of intensification, both from the perspective of agronomy or agroecological intensification, and also from genetic intensification. And let's not forget the utilization of the germplasm, because India, particularly ICRISAT and also the NBPGR, has a tremendous amount of tremendous diversity of these germplasm collections. They need to be systematically screened for abiotic and biotic stress management. And NIASM has a tremendous capacity to help with the abiotic stresses, particularly heat, drought, and salinity stress.
Thank you, Dr. Balaprasad. I think, hello.
Sir, hello. My name is Jayan, and I have a question for you. How
Yes.
growing millets will help in the reduction of greenhouse gases, sir? Is there any particular way? Is it that the millets will capture more CO2 or more greenhouse gases?
Yes, in terms of how millets will help with the greenhouse gas emissions is primarily the life cycle analysis. When you look at the millets, particularly in terms of their input use, the requirements for nitrogen, for phosphorus and potassium is very low. So therefore, the footprint of this, the use of fossil fuels for production of these fertilizer, and therefore the use by the pearl millet and other millets is going to be low. Number two is going to be that, of course, majority of the millets are C4 plants. Therefore, they'll have the more capacity to be more productive under higher concentrations. Their productivity levels are high because they have the lower photorespiration. So that's another reason. So primarily it's going to be the nutrients, it's the input, including water and other inputs in terms of pesticides and herbicides as well, and also the C4 photosynthetic mechanism. Because of this, they'll have a lower greenhouse gas and carbon and nitrogen and water footprint.
Okay, thank you, Balaprasad. I think.
Hello. Hello, Dr. Prasad sir. It was nice experience. 8 months before I was in Kansas State with you. This is Dr. Gopal Shinde, NAHP principal investigator. It was a nice experience to have know about the field developments and those all research experiments. So we are into the 3D printing technology, food printing technology for the millet specialization. Recently, we have developed some machineries also in our NIAP center. And I like to know from you how is the scope for manufacturing process engineering point of view, how it can be a very good to millet, particularly focusing the different products to various destinations of world.
Absolutely. I think the food processing industry particularly is going to play a significant role in enhancing the market value and also demand for various types of millet products around the world. And now I think you can easily make, there are several food products which can be made from millets, all the way from briskets to pastas to noodles and name it, you can make it. So one of the major issue, although, is the storage of the flour, which needs to be processing of those, and then technologies where we can enhance the shelf life of flour is going to be very, very important. And you mentioned something about the 3D printing. So I think the 3D printing of food is becoming a reality, especially with artificial meat and then other products as well. So I believe that if there is enough demand for these products, there'll be a lot of opportunities in terms of food processing, and then also enhancing the storage value, and the value addition is going to be the key. And there's a lot of products where the micronutrients, although millets are high in micronutrients and vitamins, but also additional value could be added by adding other nutrients as well. So there's a tremendous opportunities both in terms of food processing and then value-added products, particularly for millets. But of course, the price and the demand has to be there. And how well can we develop these technologies, which will be of value to smallholder farmers in Africa Africa and Asia is going to be a big question, but that needs to be addressed as well.
Thank you. So I think he's giving answer of all the queries made by our audience. So thank you, Gopal Shinde, for giving keynote at this and really good database, and definitely some recommendation will come from your presentation. So thank you very much, Dr. Gopal Shinde.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So welcome, sir.
I also welcome Dr. Former Vice Chancellor, Sir, you are one of the speaker today. So welcome, sir. You are here. And I also welcome co-chairman.
Sir,
Please.
sir, I request Director Sir for this paper, co-chairman of this keynote session, Dr. Rajbir Singh, sir, ABG, Agronomy and Agroforestry and Climate Change, with a book. Thank you, sir. Sir, the session is again over to you.
Now in the next series, we have key lead lecture. And what Dr. Vara Prasad was telling about the importance of social factor, I think Dr. U.S. Gautamji, presently working as Deputy Director General Agriculture Extension, he is the best person to talk about innovative extensions tool for scaling up abiotic stress management technologies to the farmers. I think in this lecture, we will be well discuss with what is the pathway to take the millet in next level of development, how to involve all the stakeholders in the chain. I invite Dr. U.S. Gautamji to start delivering your keynote lectures. Floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajbir, and good morning to all of you. As you know about in our agriculture extension division, having a very good networking of 731 Krishi Vigyan Kendra in the country. We have 11 Ataris in different sector, different part of the country. So how the second part, every time we are discussing about what is the innovative extension tools for scaling up these millets, and we have already started several programs. So just we are going to make some slides and then we discuss about how we go for. Yeah, this is very common. So we go for, especially for our these are the things which are already covered. Yesterday I had saw different presentation. So actually, what is the global status and what is our India, and how we can make good innovative extension program to cover maximum area and increase the productions. See, almost all over the country, most of the states they are having, except I think some Himachal Pradesh I saw here, but most of the state they are having some area, traditional area. So how we can plan to move there? See, this is a nutrition status, how that cereals and other, especially for the in comparison of the rice, wheat and barley, how this make importance for the different angles. Then declining of the needs of India, why we are not taking care about initially. We are focusing to rice and wheat. Now, slowly that area is go down, and now we are thinking about how we can increase and how we can enhance the area and productivity. And then also in the first lectures, they are also making a lot of health benefit for using this millets product. Then what is the benefits? You all knows about that. So I'm just coming main point. These are the things we are promoting: food security, nutrition security, and safety from diabetes, and economic security also is important. And see how there is two abiotic stress and millets. So both are challenges in our country, and how we can mitigate this. And these are the bottlenecks, how we can start from this. So a study for increasing productivity and production. These are the things already discussed in the session. Then what is the component for integrated millets development strategy? We have already discussed with the soil scientists and then crop scientists. See, these are the things which include it. So yes, this is important. And can you give me my? So especially how the innovative extension tools for scaling up the abiotic stress management technology millets. So especially we are talking about the innovative tools, and we are talking about mobile app and online platform. In ICR, we have developed 271 app. In Krishi Vigyan Kendra, we have also developed a KVK app, and then we have very good program for Kisan Sarthi. And nowadays, 3.5 crores farmers getting information from the Krishi Vigyan Kendra. So how this system is effective, and our planning to cover 11 crores farmers to this app. So if we can utilize this app, definitely within no time the information timely reach to the farmers, needful information reach to the farmer, and effective information reach to the farmers. So this is a most important. Then interactive workshop and webinar. Definitely, this is also a kind of knowledge generate. How we can share the knowledge, and how we can. There is no need to every time be organized training program. There are virtual platform. We can discuss. We can immediately. But farmers want to the information. Farmers want to the timely information. So this interactive workshop and webinar also make a very important role. Then farmers-friendly schools. How you see the government of India promoting farmers-friendly school. Why this is necessary? Because farmers seeing by believing, learning by doing. This is the principles of the learning of the farmers. So how that farmers-friendly school making a kind of a good impact if you adopt these practices. Demonstration plot. What is the importance of the demonstration? Because once the farmers can see the demonstration is very important. If you conduct one good demonstration, that convey to the message in the whole the village. That's why we are talking about frontline demonstration, and we generate a lot of data during our demonstration, and that can convince to the farmers what are the factors productive, what are the factors influence to the farmers' production. Because some farmers having good yield, some farmers having low yield, the same input, the same time they are doing, but why they are getting less income? It means that there are certain factors which are making a lot of differences. Time are showing. Then plant protection measure. So these are the very important things we can do. ICT-based advisory that already we can tell you about. Our planning to make them 11 crores farmers database so that we can connect with them and we can pass out the information timely, needful, and informative. Then geo-mapping and remote sensing. This is also very important. We are talking about millets. So what is the traditional area and where is the new area going to be promoted? How we can plan, how we can plan and how we can make a kind of utilization of new area. So this is also important. Community-based participation approach. Every time we are talking about the farmers training, but there is need. Yesterday I am talking about the farmers. They told me if we are going to one hectare from 3 to 4 farmers, so there is no need. There is no marketing is the problem. So how we can go? We are community-based and cluster demonstration, so that huge area we can cover and huge area they can multiply by the production. The radio and audios program, how we can, because it's still radio and that our podcast. We have more than 3,000 video clipping. How that video clipping make them effective to the farmers? How then video clipping give the kind of new thought to the farmers for adopting the new technology? So these are the things. Then peer learning. We are talking about farmers to farmer communication. We are talking about institution to institution. How we can develop a kind of strategy to make them knowledge and technology to the farmers. Then public-private partnership. Always we are talking about the marketing problems. For your kind information, ICR already signed MU with the Amazon, so that Amazon ready to purchase all the product developed, all the product produced by the farmers. But their question is that produce is the residue free, and they have come into the MU with the Krishi Vigyan Kendra. So Krishi Vigyan Kendra, Amazon, and the farmers. This is a kind of triangle. If you produce anything, but before that you make a kind of MU with the KVK, they can purchase, and within 5 hours they provide money to the bank, to the farmer's account. So this is a kind of a good initiation taken by ICR. Now we are also inviting Flipkart and so many others firm to take the help the farmers for the marketing, because marketing is a very problem facing by the farmers. Then localized knowledge center. See what is the basically problem. Yesterday we are talking about there is no procurement center in the rural area, and there is no organized sector for the providing the seed to the farmers. How we can plan for the increasing the production, how we can plan for increasing the adoption of the farmers. So there is a need for even mechanization is also very important. Farmers told that 30 lakhs rupees required for establishing a small processing unit in the rural area, and 30 lakh rupees is a huge money to a small farmers to establish this kind of. And there also they told about that there is no regular use, only for the they are using in Kharif season. So what is the plan for the Kharif and then Rabi? Then how that machine utilized for the year around? Then that is a case. Morning already that talking about intensification, and there is one study system of the finger millets in intensification, and what happened? Yeah, see here. How that the question asked by Rajveer, how that crop the system intensification make see then back please back. Yeah, see here where the result of the trial was sticking to the farmers as were 12 to 18 tillers. Now the increasing 44 to 47, and the yield is increased 18%, 18 quintals per hectare. So these kind of things already
in the system, how we can replicate this result in the large scale of the farmers so that they can adopt this, and how we can spread this things already available in our system. Next, please. This is a way forward. Next, please. See, now we are talking about what is the role of Krishi Vigyan Kendra. So these are the things where we are talking about. So demonstration, the need-based input, value chain integration to the small product, development of the activities, marketing support, research support, awareness and activities. I think all are witness here that Millets here, our one programs, Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated in our NAS center, and we have organized one very good exhibition. And we found that they develop a kind of biscuit, a kind of bakery items. That items contain 42% fat and 26% sugar. So then what is the use of that millets? So how this much 52% fat and 26% sugar. So there, what is the fate of that millets? And first lecture, our Bara Prasad already giving how many diabetes patients in India and how many diabetes patients in the world, and how health problems facing the India. So there is a need for the processing value addition in the way where we can eat the millets, not we can eat the fats and sugar. So these are the things is important. See how we are already planning. We organize 6,000 demonstration need and 150 Krishi Vigyan Kendra linked with our Indian Institute of Millet Research. So how we can plan, because seed is also very important, and availability last year farmers are facing a lot of problem for the improved seeds. Now this year we are planning to production of the seeds. So seed also playing a very important role. Then awareness, then adding the farmers FPOs, then skill development. Skill is also very important for the processing and value addition and packaging. We don't think about it. Farmers are getting all these things. These are the systematic way we can give the knowledge, systematic way we can develop the HRD, systematic way we can provide a training program to the farmers in different stage. What is the package and prestige? How we upscale, and how we can process, how we can packaging. Then we think, yes, after completing all these steps, then they will good for production system, and then development activities, on farm trials also very important. Then marketing support, nutritional saptah, we can also educating first production, then nutritional security, then entrepreneurship development and establishment of millet genes bank. Organizing Kisan Mela, adopting millet village, organizing workshop, then preparing literature, documentation of the millet success farmers. There is need for that success stories replicate, communicate to the other area. Some of few farmers, so they have success, but that is only for indicator. So how maximum number of the farmers in the rural area, they can adopt this technology, and how that literature play important role, especially in the local language. These are the seeds supplied by various KVK. We are already working with this. See why this is important. Now this is a era for the group organization. That is a era for the farmer producer organization. How we can promote single farmers not able to sell. So how that farmer producer company advantage of farmers producer attending backward and forward linkage with, and government of India also providing a lot of budget. Yes, yesterday we are also talking about the rural infrastructure fund. That rural infrastructure fund providing to the FPOs 1 crore rupees for the warehouses, so that we can keep it. We can think about this kind of thing, how we can switch over the individual farmer to the farmer producer organization. And then basically at present we have 117 farmer producer company in the Krishi Vigyan Kendra. But after success of that FPOs,
PMO called me and he given the responsibility to 500 KVK to make them 2,500 FPOs. So can 2,500 FPOs, we can make 10% those who are based on the millets, and we provide the technology to that FPOs. We provide all these backstopping, then knowledge, and then technology, then farm machinery, so that 10 FPOs make a model in the country level. So I think this is best for moving, and see how that farmer share consumer rupees for, see that unfortunate, the farmers getting 20 rupees, but the product is selling in 100 rupees. So we still see how this change. Real farmers not getting the benefit, real farmers not getting the actual price. So what step we can involve? That's why we are talking about farmer producer organization, farmer producer company, so that farmers involved for the production, farmers involved for the processing, and farmers involved for the marketing, so that all things distributed to the among the farmers. Nowadays they have got only 20 rupees. So we think about it, because that is a major barrier for the upscaling the millet production. So business opportunity in the millets of FPOs, lot of business opportunity. But there is a HRD to FPOs. They are not able to packaging, they are not able to processing. So how we can make one month, 2 month training program for value addition, for processing, and there is also how we can make availability of the machinery in the rural area. So we think about we are promoting custom hiring service, how custom hiring service linked with this machinery of the processing and value addition of the millets. Yeah, can we think white revolution, green revolution, silver, then millets revolution? If we go for this mission mode, then we are able to the upscale of the millets in the country level, and definitely there is need of the millets. See how many people are diabetes, how many people are facing a lot of problem in the health. Somebody told me that gluten coming from the wheat, and when you are eating the wheat, that is a problem coming for the diabetes and BPs. So these are the millets where they can solve these problems. So there is a need for the publicity. There is need for we are celebrating millets here. But how we can make a strategy to grassroots level? If we can celebrate in the millets here in the city, but there is a need to reach out in the rural area. What is the need for the farmers in the group approach? So in this millets revolutions, definitely millets revolution need to happen. These are the FP proposed in the millets here, already I have covered. So these are the things we wanted to highlight here. How we can go millets here, how we can go for millets revolution. So if you want to millet revolution, so you think about how we empower to the farmers, how we empower to the farmers for the technology, how we empower to the farmers for the entrepreneurship, how we empower to the farmers for the technological backstopping. So these are the things I wanted to share you. If any questions, kindly.
Any question? If no question, thank you very much, sir. Now next, may I invite Dr. A.S. Dhawanji, former Vice Chancellor VNMKV, Parvani, for delivering a keynote lecture on adaphic stresses and their management for enhancing productivity and quality of millets.
ये कैसे ऑपरेट करने का?
Sir, floor is yours.
ये पॉइंटर है, ये फॉलो. Okay. Yeah, no, I can do it. But reading from this side, okay, I will move. Yeah, that will be better. So respected chair and co-chair of the session, fellow participants, particularly my young friends who are the pillars for the tomorrow's millet revolution. At the outset, I thank the organizer and the director of the institute for inviting me for delivering this lecture on the topic eutrophic stresses and their management for enhancing productivity and quality of the millets. May I have the next slide? Sorry. This is of course, this is a millet map of India shared by many predecessor speakers. I need not to repeat it. Only thing is that barring few states in India, almost it covers the entire country, which signifies the importance of the millet in the years to come. Yeah, this is कुछ तो गड़बड़ है उसमें. Yeah, that will be better so that I can concentrate on our savings. I think pointer is also not required very frequently. I can, please help me in. I will myself say next whenever. Yeah. No need of pointer also. It's no need. I can draw your attention for a specific points wherever it required. Pointer period of here. Yeah, again, this is a global scenario of millet production in the entire world, where the Afro-Asian countries are the dominant regions where the millet is being produced, and India is one of the dominant players in the entire millet scenario of the world. Next, please. May I have the next slide? Yeah, this is again the picture about the scenario of the millet production before Green Revolution and after Green Revolution. We see that before Green Revolution, the millet were the dominant source of the food grain productions, and with the passage of time, with the invent of Green Revolution, the millet took the back seat, and other jawar and rice became a dominant cereal crops. Of course, over the years, there is an increase in the productivity, but decrease in the area. And the thanks goes to our breeders. Mostly they bred a very high yielding varieties, and now it is our bounden duty as a soil scientist and agronomist to provide them the support through nutrition of millet crops so that we can ensure both production and productivity over the years. Next one. So this is a kind of eutrophic stresses faced by the present situations, and whatever maybe it's whether it's a chemical or it's a physical, biological stress, the eutrophic stress doesn't come alone. It always comes with its companion. For example, suppose the salinity stress is there. The salinity stress is always associated with the aridity stress and temperature stress. Suppose the physical stress is there. So the physical stress doesn't come alone. It has some other maladies along with that. So managing the multiple stresses at the same time is a big challenge for the soil scientist and agronomist. Next one. So these are some of the stresses I have bifurcated. The chemical, mostly the nutrient deficiency, excess soluble salt, salinity, sodicity, low base, excess aluminum and manganese toxicity. So these are some of the dominant chemical stresses where the crop has to suffer a lot because of the nutrient mining, the nutrient deficiency, and salinity, sodicity. Next one. These are the physical high susceptibility to erosion, steep slopes, shallow soil, surface crusting, low water holding capacity, impeded drainage. These are the physical stresses. The soil is often exposed to this kind of stresses. Next one. These are biological stresses, and so is also the ecosystem stresses like low soil resilience, natural soil degradation. Next one, please. Stresses, external conditions, extreme climatic regions, and extreme high and low temperatures, insufficient length of growing season, waterlogging, excessive nutrient strains. So the crops in the country are often faced with one or other kind of stresses, and ultimately it hampers the production and productivity of the region. Next one. Biological condition, we can skip the slide, no problem. Ecosystem condition. Anthropic stresses, of course, chemical, physical, and biological. Industrialization, our own misuse of the land. These are some of the reasons that over the years the stresses are increasing on the soil resources. Next one. Next one. So this is again in terms of the acreage, the kind of the suffering which we are mostly the soil erosion, water erosion, then the salt affected soils and nutrient mining. These are the major stresses the soil resources are facing. Next one. Land use of major edaphic stress classes and land according to the classes, different classes, the soil quality class and the kind of stress exposed by the respective classes: continuous moisture stress, continuous low temperature, steep lands, shallow soil, salinity, sodicity. As per the classes, I have given the information in the bifurcated way. Next one, please. Same thing is okay. You can go ahead, please. Edaphic stresses due to nutrient mining. You know, nutrient mining is a major stress nowadays because over the years, there is always a shortfall of what we apply through chemical fertilizers and what is being taken by the crops. And every year, annually, there is a net shortage of 9 to 10 million metric tons of the nutrients. That's one thing. The another thing is that we are only focusing on application of NPK, major nutrients, but very oftenly we are neglecting the micronutrients. So there is a sort of a massive mining of this nutrient. At the same time, there is a imbalance among the available nutrient status. That's a point I would like to focus. Next one. And this is particularly, actually, you know, over the years from 1960 onwards, the multi-nutrient deficiency is a common problem. And crop suffers because of this fact, and there is, over the years, there's a decline in the factor productivity of the chemical fertilizers. For getting same amount of yield, we have to apply more and more nutrients in order to make sure that the crop do not suffer from any nutrient deficiency. Next one. So this is again the factor productivity I was talking about. In the beginning, by investing 1 kilo of nutrient, we could get 13 kg of food grains. Over the years, it has happened. It has come down. And the major cause is because of the nutrient imbalances in the soil resources and at the same time associated soil related stresses over the plates. Because over the years, not only there is a shortage of nutrients and imbalance of nutrients, but there are some associated maladies of the soil resources in terms of the physical stresses, biological stresses, and chemical stresses. Next one, please. So these are some of the trials which we, and because of the multi-nutrient deficiency, there is a definite response to the application of fertilizers. I will not go into the details of all treatments, but over and above, wherever there is an application of nutrients, combining the different sources of nutrients, chemical, biological, and organic sources, then only, and that too in a recommended doses. And in some cases, we are getting response up to 150% of RDF. So what RDF, what we talk today, that may not be the RDF as such. There is a massive depletion of the nutrients, and unless and until we improve the RDF up to 150%, so there is a need to revisit what is RDF for a specific crop. And in a doses where we have the optimum combination of chemical fertilizers, organic manures, and biological sources of the nutrition, then only we could harvest the potential yield of the most of the crops. I will not repeat all those things, but next one. So these are some of the trials which I have reviewed. And every case, wherever there is a balanced application of fertilizers through different sources, we could harvest the yield to the greatest extent, but it doesn't happen as a general means. In only demonstrations and the research trials which we have demonstrated, but unless and until we replicate all those treatments over the large area, we cannot ensure the better production and productivity of the millet crops. And particularly one point I would like to draw here. Millets are the energy rich products, but unfortunately they are grown in the energy starved situation. Mostly wherever these soils are very poor quality, rainfall is also poor. And I'm very happy to see Magar Sahab, our veteran soil scientist. I'm really fortunate to have him. So he is the pioneer in this field now. So whenever there's a suffering with respect to nutrition of the crop, It's not suffered because of the crop nutrition alone, but it suffered because of the some other maladies associated with that one. Next one. So the same thing, same trials I have just reviewed across the region and across the different crops and cropping system, millet and millet-based cropping system. Next one. Yeah, these are impact of foliar application. Of course, in a situation where the soil is not favorable for making available nutrients because of some or other malady, unless and until we give a foliar application. Just like a patient is not able to digest the food, so it is being supplied through the saline. And so same thing happens. If there is a definite response to the foliar application also. Wherever there is a unfavorable soil conditions, we have to venture for this kind of nutrition support. Next one. This I would like to share one experience with me, because with our colleagues we conducted many trials at Usmanabad College, where the soil is very light type of soil, and their application of silt has made a wonder there. And I will just share some of the experience. Next one. Next one. Next slide. You see, this is a very light type of soils. Without application of silt, the crop condition is visible before you. After application of silt, there is a bumper yield. So within 1 year, whatever the silt application expenses we are making, it has given the returns, fourfold returns within 1 season. And this has become a pet program of Maharashtra. Galmukta Dharan, Galyukta Shivar. Means desilting of the water reservoirs and resilting of the light soils, so as to improve the production and productivity of those kind of soils. And after generating a data, Government of Maharashtra has appreciated our work. We submitted a report to the Government of Maharashtra how wonder it makes, even silt application alone. And Government of Maharashtra is encouraging now, they don't charge any subsidy for the any royalty for the silt. Only transport cost is to be borne by the respective farmer. But we are pleading with the government that even they should be supported with the transport cost also. Then only we can make a wonder. I will say some of the, share some of the slides, because after field trials, we conducted these farmers field trials across the Usmanabad and Latur district, and particularly so have been followed by this the gram, that was a rotation. But the point here is that very light type of soil also can be made productive by application of silt application. We developed a protocol also for how much to apply, how to apply, what needs to be. Next one. Yeah, this is a protocol development process. Actually, my colleague, Dr. Vaidya, Praveen Vaidya, now he's head of the Department of Soil Science. He was with me and we conducted a lot of trials. He generated a lot of data, and not only the production trials, but water holding capacity of the soil increases, nutrient retention capacity of the soil is increased, and overall biomass production. And that has further enhanced the process of soil development, particularly subsoil layer moisture content that we monitor. And this is it has a serious limitation, low texture. As I said, the low texture doesn't act as a low texture alone. It has a poor retention of moisture capacity, poor retention of nutrient, and some other maladies out there. So application of silt, and now Government of Maharashtra is encouraging this has to be replicated across the country wherever we have a light tracts of the soils. And these light tracts are mostly devoted for the millet crops. So millet crops and improvement of light soils. We coined the term soil hybridization, because only it is not the area of breeders, the hybridization. The silt application is a sort of soil hybridization. Next one. So these are the trials across the entire districts. Usmanabad and Latur district, these are the farmers field trials, and farmers are more than convinced. Only limitation is that they even cannot bear the transport cost. Government has freed them from the royalty, but transport cost is also a major, and so how best we can support them so that the farmers are encouraged to apply the silt. It has a double advantage. It will increase the water storage capacity of the water reservoirs after desilting, and the silt is extremely useful. If it is applied to the light soils, it can improve it. You can just see the results are visible after application of the silt, tank silt hybridized soils. Next one. Now, this is again different crops. We have made the survey, and we made some projections also. What is the advantage of silt? As I said, it improves the marginal lands. It increases the water holding capacity. It increases the nutrient retention capacity. And even the ultimate cost of this land has also improved a lot. Land value, what we call it, after resilting. not only yield increase, but even you can have a next slide also. I can just again have some projections. Next one, next slide, please. These are the project. 68 crores is the projection figures are there. The transport cost of the silt application, and we have harvested the worth 5,000 crores across the entire district. So this is the extremely favorable cost benefit ratio of this one. Apart from improving the soil, because once we do it, no, it is done for even after 4 or 5 years. Again, that soil silt goes in the downward layers. Again, after 4 or 5 years, we can have another dose of silt application. And once we do it for years together, we can harvest the benefits of this technology. Next one. This is the same. I mean, BC ratio we have. It's land value I'm talking about. The land which was fetching really 4,75,000 per acre. So the value has increased up to 12 lakh after silt application. So this is how the marginal lands are being brought under the crop after siltation. I mean resiltation. This is the kind of the value addition which we get in the land also. Next one. But normally the degraded lands, no, they are very light type soils. They are causing per acre 4,75,000. Up to 15 centimeter layer. 15 centimeter layer per acre, and that too, because some of the farmers know at one go they are making a layer of 30 centimeter. So it is not useful because there is a separate 2 layers forms and water is not being absorbed. So 15 centimeter layer. So after 2 to 3 crop cycles, again second time you can apply, but not at one go. And most of the farmers, particularly sugarcane growers, know they make a heap of some 4 feet, 5 feet like that. It's not the good technology. So we developed a systematic protocol also. It has to be applied in 2 or 3 splits with a gap of 2 to 3 crop cycles. Then only it can assimilate with the native soil and it becomes a part of soil. And subsequently, it encourages the biomass formation, and that biomass itself again recycled back, particularly root biomass. That makes a wonder in the subsoil layer of the subsoil layer. Next one. Management of aerobic stress by enhancement, nutrient use efficiency, same thing I'm just repeating in a different way. So this is the kind of protocol which we developed, by application of silt and then mixing it, proper mixing it. Use of appropriate tillage, applying organic manures and mineral fertilizers. Next one. Contour farming, physical, conservation agriculture. So these are some of the technologies. These are not new. But if you collectively use those technology, we can improve the quality of the substandard soils. Next one. These are some of the package of practice. Vegetative burns, carbon sequestration is the basic for improving the carbon status of the soils. Yesterday at KVK we had it. No. So earlier it was having a 0.3% carbon. So they said that within a year, 5-6 years, they could improve up to 0.9% carbon. Even some of the patches are beyond 1% carbon. So this is a wonderful technology, carbon sequestration, either in situ incorporation or from other places we can bring and recycle the carbon into the soil, and this is how we can improve the quality of soils. Next one. Edaphic stress, concerns and opportunity. These are the sustainable intensification of soil resources is inevitable to maintain the food and nutrition security with ever increasing demographic pressures. Demographic pressure is so high that, and there is no scope for horizontal expansion of the area under agriculture. On the contrary, there are competing demands for the available soil resources. We need roads, we need urbanization, we need industries. And a lot of arable land is being diverted from agriculture to non-agriculture use. So under this situation, there is very limited scope for horizontal expansion until we vertically improve the soil. The second one, however, the major gains in agricultural productivity in the recent past have led to the severe land degradation. Green erosion technologies, we could visualize the impact of green erosion for early 10-20 years, but now the ill effects of green erosion technology are now becoming visible. They are surfacing out, and land degradation has started, particularly the massive imbalance of the nutrient in the soil because of application of only 1 or 2 or 3 nutrients, and we're neglecting other micronutrients, secondary nutrients. So green erosion technology, ill effects of green erosion technology are making available in the recent past now, and now it is a time to wake up. This includes the chemical stresses like nutrient deficiency. Multi-nutrient deficiency is a major factor. Salinity, acidity hazards. Out of total arable land, nearly 80% land are suffering from one or other malady. 80% land. This is a very alarming, I said, unless and until we make a wake-up call. Particularly, we need to sensitize the planning and policy-making bodies of this country and the state. Unless and until some policy support is being given by the government. Now the farmers are educated. I mean, but only our duty is to educate our planners and policymakers about the ill effects of these green revolution technology and associated hazards. Next one. Concerns and opportunities for them. This is a major policy issue we need to go ahead. Conservative estimates, edaphic stresses cause about 2/3 of the loss of agriculture production. Now the time has come to give a wake-up call, because no longer we cannot sustain those productions over the years unless or until we make some corrective measures. The several land and water management practices have been put forward to minimize the impact of these stresses, including conservation agriculture, rainwater harvesting, integrated nutrient management, integrated farming systems. These are some of the options available with us, and unless and until we make sure that these options are being implemented. Because however, the ultimate the effects of multiple stressors, the holistic approach to build the system perspective is a need of our system. We should not see the things in isolation. We should see the things in a system, overall holistic approach. Then only we can achieve a desired result. Total emergent, the new tools emerging, especially in the area of resource conservation farming system, conservation agriculture, precision farming, biotechnology. These are the new opportunities. We have to tackle these issues with the use of these new tools. Database compiled here should allow us for a better focus of research to develop the best combination of agro-ecosystem-based technologies. Moreover, these should improve the awareness among the decision making. This is what the point I was making. Unless or until we give a wake-up call to the different stakeholders, and particularly our planning and policy-making bodies are sensitized on the issues, things will not happen in the right direction. Next one. The Indian soils are being degraded, leading to multiple edaphic constraints. These are the threatening the sustainability of. There is a great threat to the sustainability in the nearer futures. Except few, the process leading to the constraints are generally insidious and show up only the gradual as the problem becomes more severe to cause the yield declines. Then the farmers may ultimately be forced to either shift a less remunerative crops, or in extreme cases, soils can turn unfit to the agriculture. So this is a wake-up call. So we have to look, the worsen the global warming, and these are other issues. Frequent occurrences of the global warming issues that are causing concern to us, and we are not able to sustain the productions. So whatever breeders they have bred the new varieties, unless and until we give them the support through management for the nutrient, water, and soil resources, we will lose the gains given by our breeder friends. Then even by conservative estimates, the mitigation of about 50% of the edaphic stresses can raise the food production level to about twofold. Now we say that we are self-sufficient in food, but still we have to import the wheat, we have to import the oilseeds. There's a very delicate balance, and unless until we make sure that our soil resources are managed properly, even by that only 50% even, whatever the soil resources are there, 50% soils are supposed to be improved, then we can increase the yield levels by twofold. So the food security has to be ensured only by management of the soil resources. That's the point which I'd like to make here. Next one. The conclusion, Indian soils, yes, future strategies. Deal with edaphic constraints by means of improved methods of soil water management. Grow crops that are tolerant to constraints or as per the soil site suitability for obtaining optimum yields. Find alternative uses for land. In fact, the options to be adopted are defined by the typical edaphic factors and available, because crops and crop combination choices goes with the quality of soils and the stresses and strains faced by edaphic stresses particularly. That accordingly we can choose the crops and cropping system. Changes in crop and land use, crop diversification, measures to improve the soil quality such as integrated nutrient is a key. Conservation agriculture, efficient water management through modern irrigation and drainage methods are needed for the edaphic stress management of the millets. I think this is with this message, next one, perhaps it is the last slide. Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share some of my findings. And with this, I conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Dhawan Sahab. Very important recommendation, very important study you made. Okay, how small things play a very important role in the systems and how that important in the policymaker. So I think I invite the questions from the audience.
No, I would like to share a very interesting information that Government of Maharashtra, it's a pet program, Gav Mukta Dharan, Gav Yukta Shivar. That report we prepared, and when I went to Rajibhavan for facing my interview for vice chancellorship, I shared this report with the honorable then governor of Maharashtra, and he was so excited. Oh, such a wonderful technology you have developed, very low cost, only transport cost. And there I requested, sir, if you intervene and convince our government to provide some more support for bearing the transport cost of the seed, it will make a wonder for improving the low grade soils. That was so, he was very happy by seeing the report and all those things.
Good.
Perhaps that has paved my way towards the vice chancellor.
Yes. Okay. Questions for audience?
Yeah.
Me, Rajkumar More.
Yeah, he's the Dr. More. He's our very promising government agriculture officer. He's my student also. And he has extensively worked in Latur and Usman district in different capacities. He would like to share something. Yes.
Sir, मी मराठीतून बोलतो, इंग्लिशमध्ये बोलू शकतो, पण आता हे सर्व
I will translate whatever you say.
सर, ही स्कीम सुरू झाली, आम्ही शेतकऱ्यापर्यंत पोहोचलो. सोलापूरमध्ये साधारणतः 3,40,000 हेक्टर ऊसाचा एरिया आहे, 1 लाख हेक्टर फळबागेचा एरिया आहे. ह्या पिकामध्ये आपल्याला आंतरपीक घेता येतं. आम्ही जेव्हा शेतकऱ्याच्या समोर गेलो की ह्याची कुठलीही प्रॉमिनंट व्हरायटी समोर नाही सर, आपण प्रचार करू लागलो सर, पण ब्लाइंडली करू लागलो की शेतकऱ्याच्या समोर गेलो व्हरायटी कुठली आहे काहीच नाही माहित नाही. पण न्यूट्रिशनचा कार्यक्रम राबवा. पण ह्याच्यामध्ये कसं आहे की प्रॉमिनंट जे व्हरायटी आहेत, प्रॉमिनंट व्हरायट्या आता विद्यापीठाकडे कुठल्याही उपलब्ध नाहीत. मी सगळ्या विद्यापीठाच्या आम्ही टचमध्ये राहतो. आता जे कुठे शेतकऱ्याकडे व्हरायट्या आहेत, प्रॉमिनंट व्हरायट्या, लोकल व्हरायट्या, जे की सोलापूरमध्ये आहेत, उस्मानाबादमध्ये आहेत, काही शेतकऱ्यांनी ते मेंटेन केले. मग विद्यापीठाने सर्वे करून आमचे जे एक्सटेन्शन मशिनरी आहेत त्यांच्या मार्फत ही व्हरायट्याचं कलेक्शन करावं आणि त्यांचे जे काही गव्हर्नमेंट लँड आहेत त्याच्यावर त्यांनी हे करावं, किंवा शेतकऱ्याच्या शेतावर जर तुम्ही हे करून द्यायचं म्हणलं तर आम्ही शेतकरी तयार करू. तुमचं सीडचं आपल्याला उत्पादन, मोठ्या प्रमाणात सीडचं उत्पादन आपल्याला करावं हे सर. आणि दुसरं सर, आता की आता सोलापूर उत्पादन करायचं आणि अक्कलकोट आणि पंढरपूरला येणारा भक्तगण दररोज 3 ते 4 लाखाचं दररोज येणारा भक्तगण आहे, आणि त्या भक्तगणाला वरई किंवा भगर हे खाण्यासाठी लागतं. म्हणजे गिराईक तयार आहे. ह्याच्यामध्ये जे काही मशिनरी आहे, मशिनरी हे प्रॉमिनंट काही लोकांच्याच मर्यादित आहे. आता नाशिकमध्ये काही भागातच मर्यादित आहे. त्याच्या जे छोट्या मशिनरी आहेत, जे की आता शेतकऱ्यांनी समजा एक 10 एकरचं भगरचा कार्यक्रम घेतला तर त्याचं तांदूळ करायचं, त्याचं विक्री कसं करायचं, त्याच्यासाठी जे छोटी मशिनरी आहे, त्याच्यासाठी इंजिनिअरिंगचं जे लेक्चर आहे, इंजिनिअरिंग लेक्चर ह्याच्यात मशिनरी जे छोट्या मशिनरी आहेत, छोट्या मशिनरी आपल्याला आवश्यक आहेत, जेणेकरून शेतकऱ्याला सांगावं लागेल की छोट्या मशिनरी आहेत आणि ह्या ठिकाणी उपलब्ध आहेत, त्याच्या ऍड्रेस आणि त्याच्या किमती त्या आहेत. आता शेतकरी घ्यायला तयार आहे, सगळं तयार आहे. पण ह्याच्यात जोपर्यंत आता कालच सरांनी सांगितलं की फायनान्शियल आणि पॉलिटिकल ह्याला सपोर्ट मिळत नाही. पॉलिटिकल सपोर्ट यासाठी की खरेदीदार तयार पाहिजे, त्याची किंमत तयार पाहिजे. आता लातूरमध्ये आम्ही सोयाबीन सर साक्षीदार आहे त्याच्यामध्ये. आम्ही ज्यावेळेस 92-93 मध्ये सोयाबीनची सुरुवात केली त्यावेळेस शेतकरी हाच प्रश्न विचारत होते. आज ही भगरीसाठी किंवा मिलेटसाठी विचारतात किंवा पुढे काय करायचं. तर त्याच वेळेस आम्ही स्वर्गीय माननीय विलासराव देशमुख साहेब ज्यावेळेस मंत्री होते त्यांना आम्ही ही गोष्ट कानावर घातली की सर असं आहे. ते म्हणले की डोंट वरी. आणि त्यांनी पुढच्या 6 महिन्यामध्ये टिनासारखा ऑइलचा सोयाबीनच्या ऑइल मिलचा प्रोजेक्ट लातूरसाठी आणला आणि सोयाबीन आमचं पूर्ण एरिया कन्वर्ट झाला. जे की
point, sir, he has highlighted 2 issues. The availability of the varieties of the millets. That's a major constraint. People are asking for that kind of seed availability of those promising varieties of millet. And one issue, if they are made available, farmers are ready to take it. The another thing is after getting the crop, the post-harvest handling, the machinery development at small scale or the household sector If we develop as value-added machineries, and then we can develop those products and market in appropriate way. If these two supports are provided to the farmers, definitely the yield will increase, or the production of the millets as a companion crop, as a mixed crop, as intercrop, whatever it may be, the options are there. It is being adopted by the farmer, provided the availability of good seed and post-harvest support to them, marketing support. So value additions. These are the two issues.
Thank you, thank you.
तिसरा एक विषय होता सर, आता हे जे आपण हेल्थ कॉन्शियस प्रॉब्लेम झाले ते हाय लेवलच्या वर्गाचे सर, म्हणजे बीपी झाला, डायबिटीज झाला, हे काही कॉमन वर्गाचे प्रश्न आहे. आणि ज्यावेळेस आम्ही ह्या लेवल पर्यंत जातो आणि ह्याचं मुख्य गिरायक आहे डॉक्टर जोपर्यंत त्याला सांगत नाही किंवा तू हे मिलेट खा, ज्वारी खा किंवा हे काही हाय लेवलचा वर्ग ऐकणार नाही. म्हणून डॉक्टरचं जसं आमची जशी आता एक्सटेन्शन वर्गाची कार्यशाळा घेतली, डॉक्टरची कार्यशाळा घेणं.
थँक्यू. I tell you, not only the diabetic population, now my daughter-in-law, she is asking for her kids to provide some good quality millet mixtures and all those things. So, this is important. Nutrition. So, diabetic population.
Sir, I just wanted to know, is my curiosity, if this kind of silt deposit in the tanks, so what is the role of agriculture department? They are not saying this kind of things happening.
No, now that convince the government and the agriculture department, of course, I wanted to have some experience of him. Agriculture department is really positive about it now. And the particularly government of Maharashtra. They have declared one program that is in Marathi called as a Gaayukta Dharan and Galamukta Dharan and Gaayukta Sivar. The Galamukta means desiltation of the water reservoirs and resiltation of the soil resources through that silt. It's the program of double benefit. On the contrary, suppose we desilt the water reservoirs, but we improve the water storage capacity of those reservoirs, because passive siltation has reduced the life of the water reservoirs. But only thing is, silt is such a massive thing. It is giving transport, and itself is a very difficult. They are not charging any royalty government from side of you. But even farmer cannot have a capacity to bear the transport cost also.
Thank you.
Unless the government supports them for providing transport costs also to some program, to some policy instruments, people will not take up. Technical suitability, people are beyond conviction. They are convinced too much.
Thank you.
Okay. चौथा
Questions from?
सर चौथा प्रश्न होता सर, मी केवीके बारामती सगळ्या सकाळी उठून फिरलो सर, कुठेही आपल्याला मिलेटच्या डेमॉन्स्ट्रेशनचं एक काडी दिसली नाही. सोलापूरमध्ये फिरले, लातूरमध्ये फिरले, पुण्यामध्ये फिरले, आणि जोपर्यंत आपले जे इन्स्टिट्यूट आहे गव्हर्नमेंट इन्स्टिट्यूट, तिथं एकर बेसिसवर जोपर्यंत हे जे नवीन जे व्हरायटी आहेत किंवा मिलेटचे जे डेमॉन्स्ट्रेशन आहेत ती दिसली, तोपर्यंत लोक व्हिजिट करणार नाही, त्याचं उत्पादन.
KVK have a big role to play for the demonstration of the millet.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Dhawan sir.
Yes, sir.
For giving a very good insight about the soil health.
Okay.
So once again, thanks to you. And we call.
Something to say? Yes,
Actually, sir, we have demonstrated millet since last 5 years.
KVK बारामती ना?
KVK बारामती. तर तुमच्यासाठी सांगतो सर की मागच्या 5 वर्षापासून ज्यावेळेस मिलेट बद्दल अवेअरनेस नव्हतं, तेव्हापासून बारामती केवीके दर कृषकला मिलेटचे प्लॉट्स तयार करते. आता सुद्धा तुम्ही फिरलात, पण बाजूच्या सेक्टरमध्ये आपले 5 प्रकारचे मिलेट आपण लावलेले आहेत, आणि ते मिलेट इथून तिथून नाही तर US, धारवाड, दावणगीर अशा ठिकाणी स्वतः जाऊन आणलेले आहेत सर.
Thank you. Now things have started in a positive direction. Let's hope that in due course of time the picture will be totally changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think next is speaker, Mr. Tara Sahib. Please. Tatya Sahib. Yeah.
Can change. I will just speak only. Okay. They can change, no? Okay, no problem. I will say only. Namaskar. Suprabhatam to all. I think I am here for answering to the Moresar questions. I think. But I don't know how to speak before you are all the scientists here and I am the farmer. Something different with me and you, that you have very much, what do you say, knowledgeable person. You have do very much experiment on the each crops. But when I complete my job after 12 years, then I started my journey with the farmer, but not in the field, in the home only. Next, please. We also know about what is the problem, what is the opportunity right now. I think this concept will be covered in future and next. Yesterday also, some of the topic will be covered in this millet. So need not necessary to what is the benefit of the millet and why this follow. But I always say that in Marathi, शिवाजी महाराजांनी जन्म घ्यावा दुसऱ्याच्या घरात, पण तो माझ्या घरात नको, अशी जी सवय आहे ना ती आपण कुठेतरी घालवायला पाहिजे. फुल डे वी आर लिसनिंग मिलेट्स and after when we leave this place, then we started our daily meal in wheat, rice, all these things. I think this is not fair. So we have to change our diet in such a way. If we take, I think 3 times meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, can we change our one meal from millet? It's a really good thing for the farmers, because I am just the farmer. Just Moresar said that there is awareness, too much awareness is there. Many doctors also saying millet is good, but who are the buyers? There is no buyer till doctors saying. So if you change from ourselves, then we can say, yeah, millet will be miracles for the farmers, planet and everything. वो बोलने के लिए ठीक है, लेकिन जब हम वस्तु स्थिति जब जानेंगे ना तो बहुत डिफरेंट है. नेक्स्ट. ये तो डायबिटीज का ओवर यूज है, बोलने की ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं कितना परसेंटेज डायबिटीज का ये है. वी आर नाउ टुवर्ड्स टू कैपिटल ऑफ डायबिटीज. और डायबिटीज ये इतना बड़ा डिसऑर्डर हो गया है कि ड्यू टू डायबिटीज मेनी अभी जो जितने भी डिसऑर्डर आते हैं वो डायबिटीज की वजह से ज्यादा आ जाते हैं. फिर हम डायबिटीज के ऊपर फोकस करें और मिलेट को फॉलो करें तो बहुत सारे डिसऑर्डर कम हो जाएंगे. लेकिन कितना लोग चाहते हैं कि डायबिटीज मेरा जाए? खुद से नहीं. जब तक वी हैव टू नॉट प्रेशराइज फ्रॉम द डॉक्टर्स, टिल टुडे वी आर नॉट कंज्यूमिंग द मिलेट्स. हो का? अरे वा, ते तर माझ्यासाठी खूप चांगलं आहे. मग कारण काय होतं, मदर लँग्वेज इज ऑल्सो मोस्ट टू द हार्ट, टच टू द हार्ट. ऍक्च्युली तर आपलं काय होतंय, जर बघायला गेलं तर डायबिटीज, मला डायबिटीज आहे की नाही हे मला कोरोना झाल्यावर ज्यावेळेस मी ऍडमिट झालो त्यावेळेस कळतं. तर मला असं वाटतं की डायबिटीज होण्याच्या अगोदरच आपण जर प्रिव्हेन्शन कसं करू शकू. 3 मधलं जसं मी सांगितलं की एक मील जरी आपण ट्रान्सफर केलं आपल्या जेवणातलं की ते आपण मिलेटला कन्वर्ट केलं तरी बऱ्यापैकी आपल्याला तो चांगला बेनिफिट आपल्या ह्याच्यातून दिसून येतो. मी जरी शेतात राहत नसलो, गावात राहत असलो, शेतीत राहत असलो तरी 2 टाइम माझं जेवण हे प्युअरली भाकरी असते ज्वारीची. आणि हे तुम्ही ज्वारीची भाकरी किंवा जे तुम्हाला वाटतंय ते जरी तुम्ही कन्वर्ट केलं तर बऱ्यापैकी आपण ह्या ज्या मोठ्या मोठ्या फिगर्स आहेत त्या आपण आकडे कमी करू शकू. तुम्हाला मी क्लिनिकल डाटा नाही सांगू शकत, बट सर when I attended one conference about the health, that time many of the doctors and medical representatives are there. They have very tremendous MNCs target जो करती है अपना इंडिया as a market, we are the customer for them. So आप इतने बड़े साइंटिस्ट है, उन्होंने इतने अच्छे ये किए हैं एक्सपेरिमेंट, और वो जो प्रोडक्ट लाए वो प्रोडक्ट एक्चुअल सच में इस्तेमाल करने की अभी जरूरत है. एंड देन गवर्नमेंट आल्सो, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट आल्सो सपोर्टिंग दिस वन. नेक्स्ट. This is for our strategy that means TAM, SAM, and SOM. This is our language. That means this is our targeted market for our millet. This is too much. That is whole world. That is then serviceable market is there up to India, and optimal market within Maharashtra, within Pune in city, like that. We are, if you focus on this 3 target, फिर वो हम बोलते ना इकोनॉमी बिलियन ट्रिलियन वगैरह, तो हम ही करवा सकते हैं सिर्फ मिलेट को लेके. ऐसा हो सकता है, लेकिन वो जो पॉइंट है वो आपको खुद से स्टार्ट करना है. नेक्स्ट. ऍक्च्युली जसं मी सरांना अगोदर सांगितलं होतं, मी पहिल्यांदा शेतकरी, आता पहिल्यांदा ओळख करून देताना शेतकरीच सांगतो. 12 वर्ष सर्व्हिस केल्याच्या नंतर एका संस्थेत काम करत होतो, आणि मला ह्या संस्थेत येण्याचा आनंद ह्याच्यासाठी आहे, मी ज्या संस्थेत काम करत होतो, शरद पवार सर इज आवर फाउंडर, एंड उन्होंने ये बिल्डिंग का इनॉग्रेशन किया था. उस टाइम में उस टाइम आया था, उसके बाद अब आया हूँ डायरेक्ट लेक्चर देने में. वो इतना बड़ा पंडाल था, उसी टाइम आने के बाद ये मौका मिला, थैंक्स टू अबायोटिक टेस्ट मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट. ये होने के बाद हमने एक संस्था चालू किया इंदापूर में. तुम्ही सगळं म्हणता की तुम्ही विद्यापीठात वगैरे आहे, पण माझ्या बरोबर चालतं बोलतं विद्यापीठच बरोबर असतं. डॉक्टर मगर सर हे माझे मेंटॉर, आणि त्यांच्या माध्यमातून आम्ही 10-20 शेतकऱ्यांचा ग्रुप केला इंदापूरला. वडिलांच्या, माझं ज्यावेळेस डेथ झाली वडिलांची आणि कॅन्सरनी झाली, त्यावेळेस मला जगण्याबद्दलचा जो आपण ही म्हणतो ना की जीवनामध्ये काही राम नाही, तर ते झाल्याच्या नंतर मी असा विचार केला की आता इथून पुढे जे काही कार्य करायचंय ते चांगलं आणि लोकांसाठी हिताचं होईल, सोसायटीसाठी असेल, स्वतःसाठी असेल. तर ह्या पद्धतीनं मी सर्व्हिस सोडून दिली. सर्व्हिस सोडल्याच्या नंतर प्रत्येक माणूस असतो, बिझनेस करत असतो. बिझनेस करत म्हटलं की तुम्हाला पैसे येतच असतात, पण मी कन्सेप्ट असा ठेवला. 2010ला बिझनेस चालू केला, 2012ला त्याला स्ट्रक्चरल बिझनेसला दिलं साहेबांच्या मदतीनं, आणि ह्याचं रोपटं ते खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणात झालं. सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटची जी डॉक्टर मगर साहेबांनी आम्ही ग्रुप केल्याच्या नंतर शरद पवार साहेबांनी एक स्कीम आणली होती इन्सिप म्हणून. त्याच्या अंडर सरांना, मोरे सरांना माहित असेल, त्या 4 लाखाच्या मशिनरी कृषी विभागाने दिल्या होत्या. आय थिंक 160 प्लांट्स झाले होते महाराष्ट्रामध्ये. त्यातले आमचे महाराष्ट्रातले 2 आता सध्या तरी माझ्या माहितीने चालू आहेत. तर त्याच्यातच आम्ही थोडं मॉडिफिकेशन करून 2013ला बऱ्यापैकी मोठी इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करून ऑटोमॅटिक प्लांट चालू केले. पण आमचं ध्येय असं ठेवलं की ज्यावेळेस सरांनी जसं सांगितलं, आमच्या केव्हीके बारामतीच्या 5 वर्षापूर्वी त्यांनी मिलेट चालू केलं. खूप बारामती केव्हीकेचं खूप चांगलं काम आहे. मी 2012ला मिलेटवर काम चालू केलं. त्यावेळेस माहिती नव्हता, आणि तो आम्ही कस्टमर पर्यंत पोहोचवायचा प्रयत्न केला. तर ज्वार बाजरा असं म्हटलं की लोकांना थोडं वेगळं वाटायचं. तर मार्केटमधले कसं एंट्री करायची, पेनिट्रेट कसं करायचं. तुम्ही ज्यावेळेस ऑफिसर असता त्यावेळेस गोष्ट वेगळी असते, पण ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही एंटरप्रेन्योर असता त्यावेळेस तुम्हाला कंझ्युमरच्या बेसनी आपल्याला पुढे जावं लागतं. तर कंझ्युमरला कसं सांगायचं हे माझे गुरु जे होते ते बोरकर सर, हांडे सर आणि बानखेले मॅडम यांनी मला शिकवलं की मार्केटमध्ये प्रोडक्ट कसा विकायचा. मी साहेबांच्या ऑफिसला उपसंपादक आणि नॅशनलचा ट्रेनिंग कोऑर्डिनेटर होतो. ते सोडल्याच्या नंतर डायरेक्ट ओरिजिनल मार्केटमध्ये आलो, आणि ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी करत असताना विकायचं कसं हे मी ह्या 3 लोकांकडून शिकलो. आणि त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही ग्लुटेन फ्री असं नाव त्या प्रोडक्टला देऊन विकायचं. त्याच्यानंतर लोक अट्रॅक्ट व्हायचे. मला वाईट एका गोष्टीचं वाटतं, तुम्ही भाकरी म्हटलं की घेत नाही, पण तिला ग्लुटेन फ्री पराठा किंवा असं म्हटलं की तुम्ही लगेच घेता. तर ही जी शोकांतिका किंवा हे जे आहे स्टेटस जे आपण म्हणतो ना, ते खरंच बदललं पाहिजे. मला इतका अभिमान वाटतो. सर प्रतापराव पवार सर इज हेड ऑफ दिस सकाळ समूह, बट डेली ही आर इटिंग जवार रोटी, and in every program they are saying that I am proudly eating jawar roti. हे एक असं झालं पाहिजे, मी ज्वारीची भाकरी खातो, मी पिझ्झा खातो, हे कसं काय स्टेटस होऊ शकतं? तर ह्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत ना, हे आपल्यावर बिंबवलेल्या आहेत टोटली. तर ह्या सगळ्यांवर आपण कसं पुढे जायचं? तुम्ही सगळे सायंटिस्टच आहात, तुम्ही पुढे जाऊन भारत घडवणार आहेत, त्यामुळे मला नाही वाटत त्याच्यातले एंटरप्रेन्युअर किती होतील. सर मला म्हटले काही शेतकरी आहेत, पण खूप चांगले दिवस आहेत मिलेट एंटरप्रेन्युअरला, मी असं म्हणेल. नेक्स्ट, ही आमची टीम आहे टोटल. जसं मी सरांना सांगितलं की ते आमचे मेंटॉर गुरु. तुम्ही विद्यापीठात गेल्याच्या नंतर तुम्हाला बुक्स वगैरे भेटतील. माझ्याबरोबर नेहमी चालतं बोलतं विद्यापीठच असतं, म्हणजे थोडी जरी अडचण आली की साहेबांना फोन करायचा आणि चालू राहतं. नेक्स्ट, हा आमचा प्रवास आहे. ज्यावेळेस ऑगस्ट 2012ला वी स्टार्टेड अवर जर्नी इन मिलेट प्रोसेसिंग with only 2-3 products. That time we made only the ready-made products, Jawar idli, then Jawar shankarpali and Jawar chakli. In Pune, in society, we directly sell to the consumers by giving the testing to them, and after getting good test, they make the repeat order. Then we increase our that time our confidence will increase. फिर हमने ऐसा सोचा कि नहीं, इसमें थोड़ा पैसा और डाल के कोई करवा सकते हैं क्या? तो 22 लाख का हमने एक बैंक में लोन अप्रूवल किया, तो उन्होंने वो रिजेक्ट किया, अप्रूवल के लिए डाल दिया था। वो मैनेजर का मैंने सर ये करवा दिया, ट्रांसफर करवा दिया, क्योंकि 4.5 साल मैं शरद पवार साहब के ऑफिस में था, मतलब इतना काफी है। तो वो जो आदमी है वो, आणि हे खरंच हसण्यासाठी किंवा हे नाही, तो माणूस मला आणखीही विसरला नाही, कारण मी त्या मॅनेजरला इतका धडा शिकवला. नंतर मी ऍग्रिकॉस आहे, तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना माहित असेल ऍग्रिकॉसची, की तुम्ही कुठल्याही चौकात जा, पोलीस 100% ऍग्रिकॉस असतो, कुठल्या ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफिसर मध्ये जा. तर अशा सगळ्या मित्रांकडून मला फक्त नाव घ्यायची त्यांची परमिशन नसल्यामुळे मी घेत नाही, पण त्यांच्याकडून आणि नातेवाईकांकडून मी 27 लाखाचं पैसे घेतले आणि मी युनिट टाकला. राहुरीला खूप मोठा प्लांट सुरू केला आणि त्याच्यानंतर मी बऱ्यापैकी मागं नाही बघितलं आणि आमची ती जर्नी जी आहे ती सुरू झाली. 2016ला माझं फर्स्ट कन्साइनमेंट फक्त 600 किलो ज्वारीचा रवा वी एक्सपोर्टेड टू द USA. That time Adinath Chavan sir said me, this is a great news for the farmers, you cover in our agro daily newspaper. मैं बोला इतना तो कुछ बड़ा बात नहीं है, बोले वैसा नहीं है, उसके पीछे एक अगला स्टोरी है कि आप 600 kg वो क्वांटिटी छोड़ दो, लेकिन उससे एक इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगा सबको. तो उन्होंने हेडलाइन लिखा था, अभी भी वो 2016 का पेपर निकालो जुलाई का, वहां एक हेडलाइन है ज्वारीची गगन भरारी म्हणून. तर ह्या सगळ्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत ह्या प्राऊड फील करतात. पैसे हे येतच असतात, बिझनेस आहे तो. आफ्टर दॅट वी स्टार्टेड अवर एक्सपोर्ट टू मेनी अदर कंट्रीज. राईट नाउ वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग टू 7 countries. फ्रॉम द 7 countries in USA only, we in 22 states our products is available in USA. And right now we have the group of 300 plus farmers. My target is till December 13, I want to make 1,000 farmers of the millets. And sir, तुम्ही जे म्हटलात ना मिलेटला दिवस नाहीयेत, नक्कीच नव्हते, पण 2018च्या नंतर थँक्स टू द सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंट they declare as National Millet Day. After that, this is the millet year. त्याच्या अगोदर काय होत होतं, मलाच पळावं लागायचं अवेअरनेस साठी, पण आता असं झालं की गव्हर्नमेंट पळतंय. त्याचा एक प्लस पॉईंट असं झालं की जे अवेअरनेस साठी पैसे लागतायत माझ्यासारख्या छोट्या एंटरप्रेन्योरचे, ते गव्हर्नमेंट त्याच्यामध्ये टाकतंय. त्याच्यामुळे आता एंट्री होणं मिलेट एंटरप्रेन्योरची ती चांगली आहे. मी आलो म्हणजे काळाच्या अगोदर आलो. आता मी आणि येणारा मिलेट एंटरप्रेन्योर हा एकच आहे. मला खूप जण विचारतात, why you are giving the lectures to the entrepreneurs and ते असं का? मी म्हटलं असं काही नाही, माझ्या जीवनाचं एकच ध्येय आहे, एक काम करायचं. कुणीही माणूस मोठं झाला, मला साहेब नेहमी आप्पासाहेबांचं उदाहरण देतात, आप्पासाहेब पवार, तुम्ही कीर्ती रूपे उरावे असं जे म्हणतो ना, पैसे तर येतच असतात, पैशाने कोणच माणूस मोठा होत नाही. मी काल एक असंच एक जणाचं भाषण ऐकलं, श्रीमंत कोणाला म्हणायचं, हे आउट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन आहे सर. आप श्रीमंत किसको बोलते हैं? जिसके पास गाड़ी है उससे मत बोलो, जिसके पास बंगला है उससे मत बोलो, जिसके घर में 4 फादर है उसके और वो खुशी से जी रहे हैं, खुशी से, उसको श्रीमंत बोलना आहे. तो ह्या गोष्टी सगळ्या ध्यानात घेऊन जर तुम्ही बिझनेसची आणि ह्याची वाटचाल केला, समाजाला बरोबर घेऊन, तर बिझनेस वाढतो. असं नाही की मी माझे काही गुपित नाही सांगणार आणि तुम्ही पुढे जायचं, तसं नाही होणार. नेक्स्ट. This is our farmers networks in this is register our farmers in Apeda. Next. I think this is not necessary to tell you because all these are repeated things. Next. तुम्ही सगळे सायंटिस्ट आहात, तुम्हाला मला वाटत नाही की हे सांगायची काही गरज आहे. पुढे. हा, हे सगळं माहिती आहे पण ते ओळखत नाही. हा, ऍक्च्युली हे इथून सांगतो. आपण तांदळाची इडली खातो. तांदळाची इडली ही साऊथ इंडियन आहे, पण ती आपल्याकडे फेमस झाली. गावागावात सुद्धा बघा तांदळाची इडली असते. आपण कधी आपल्या प्रोडक्टला पुढे नाही केलेलं. आपण ज्वारीपासून प्युअरली ज्वारीची विदाऊट राईसची इडली केलेली आहे आणि हे 2013ला मी डेव्हलप केलंय. त्याची खूप मोठी स्टोरी आहे पण त्याला टाइम लागेल. तर असे वेगवेगळे प्रोडक्ट्स आपण डेव्हलप केलेले आहेत. त्याच्यामध्ये कुठलेही प्रिझर्वेटिव्ह टाकलं नाही. If you see the ingredient list, only 2 ingredients will be there. Next. ही नाचणीपासून इडली बनवली. नेक्स्ट. नाचणीचा डोसा. ज्वारीचा रवा, जसा गव्हाचा रवा यूज केला जातो सेम तसा ज्वारीचा रवा. ज्वारीचे पोहे. तांदळाच्या पोह्याने जसं तुम्हाला ऍसिडिटी होते तसं ज्वारी बाजरीच्या पोह्याने ऍसिडिटी होत नाही, फायबर रिच असल्यामुळे. नेक्स्ट. सेम स्नॅक तयार केलेला. थालीपीठ आय थिंक सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे. नाचणीचा रवा, मिलेटचा दलिया आहे आणि कुकीजचा आता जस्ट आपण 2 महिन्यापूर्वी एक प्लॅन टाकलेला आहे. त्याचे हे सगळे प्रोडक्ट्स आहेत. आपल्या थोड्याच दिवसात आपले वेगवेगळे प्रोडक्ट्स तुम्हाला एअरलाइन्स मध्ये दिसतील. आपण वेगवेगळ्या पद्धतीने असं प्रमोशन करतो. आपण गावाकडे असा एक मॉल तयार केलाय. नेक्स्ट. ताज हॉटेल, त्याच्यानंतर लेमन ट्री, असे जे मोठे 5 स्टार हॉटेल आहेत, ऑर्चिड, त्याला आपला प्रोडक्ट जातो. जे बचत गट असतील त्यांना ट्रेनिंग असते. जपानचे डेलिगेट्स मागच्या महिन्यात आपल्या प्लांटवर आले होते. आपेडाचं फ्लॅगअपचा प्रोग्राम. सर, दिस इज प्राऊड थिंग फॉर मी. तरुण बजाज सर गिव्हन द फ्लॅग ऑफ फॉर माय दुबई कन्साइनमेंट. And another thing is that time Goel sir share our story on Twitter. Next. Media.
So conclude करें.
Yes. हो गया. Thank you.
Thank you.
मला वाटतं प्रश्न नक्कीच नसतील कारण सगळे हे आहेत, पण शेतकरी कोण असेल तर हरकत नाही.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. I think this is a good example for the farmers. How they had commitment and how they kind of dedication and then they achieve the goals. So these kind of things, actually whole purpose of this seminar, this is thing. Yes. How farmers grow millets and how farmers get income from the millet and how India improve their health.
Correct, sir.
So if any questions, otherwise we call for the next speaker. Just one question, only for one question. Because already we are late for 20 minutes. Yeah, Dr. Sudhamate, sir.
Hello. Sir, myself, Dr. Yogesh Bon. I am working as a breeder in air service small millet at Kolhapur Center under MPK Virahuri. Sir, I am very thankful to organizer for covering today's session. Dr. Varaprasad sir highlighted about the crops. Dr. Gautam sir highlighted about the extension activity regarding millets. Dr. Dhawan sir highlighted the production aspect, and lastly the processing aspect highlighted by the Patari sir. So only 2 points. Sir, there is a sharp decline in millet areas in traditional area. We are seeing that, and unless procurement and MSP go hand in hand, millet promotion is very impossible on the farm's point of view as a major crop. And second point is that we cannot eat millet as a raw grain because dehulling is very necessary in millets. Primary processing is very necessary. So unless and until we address production as well as processing aspect, millet promotion is quite difficult. So we have already started working in millets for promotion point of view. First point is that can we cultivate millets in very large crop, major crops like sugarcane, cotton, which are having very wider spacing and gestation period is almost 2 and 3 months. So in 3 months, millet can complete their life cycle, and added benefits to farmer that the initial cost on weeding will be minimized. So in that way, input costing is minimized.
I think yesterday we have some very good innovative farmers. They have raised all the questions and we have made a kind of recommendation to Government of India
Yes.
for the same.
Yes, sir. So last year we have conducted also one experiment, not only the intercropping, but non-traditional season. We targeted summer season, almost 1.5 times more yield in summer season we got in finger millet. We are replicating the same experiments.
Thank you.
And like Patare sir told, there is deficit in production aspect. They are ready to process the millets. In Nashik also there are almost 35 millets mills. Their daily need is 2 tons little millet they needed. They are taking from Raipur, Chhattisgarh, Orissa state. In Maharashtra there is deficit. So unless and until we target the production aspect, we can.
That is important. We are taking care about production.
And one 2 points raised by sir regarding the seed production of millets. She wanted the seed of little millet. Sir, as per the intent of NSC and Mahabij, we have completed our intent. Almost 200 acres of small millet seed production is already going on in Kharif season. Sir, you please place your demand on record. We will supply you. And another regarding the demonstration. Already Dr. Dheeraj has explained that he is conducting millet demonstration since last 5 years. And in MPK Rauri, currently we have conducted demonstration in our caste farm at MPK Rauri. Sir, you can visit our caste farm next month and you will get.
No, we are doing better demonstration. We are creating awareness, but that is not enough. Now they will make the government policy for how we make a massive program in the awareness for the training program for HRD. That is required. Millet, say that millet revolution.
Yes. Sir, already I think Department of Agriculture, Maharashtra, some 50 lakhs mini kits they have distributed. So you should also take the progress regarding what happened to that 50 lakhs mini kits. So it will be.
Okay. I think, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you. And I invite Dr. Sudhamate because time is very less. So I request Sudhamate sir to kindly brief some policy interventions point.
The screen from this side, no? Hello. Yeah. Maybe highlight from this side. Hello. Respected chair, co-chair, Director Reddy Garu, Dr. Magat Sahab, Dr. Dhawan Sahab, directors of various ICR institutes, the senior faculty of this particular institute, distinguished participants, students, and friends. And after listening to DG ICR and DDG NRM and DDG Extension, Dhawan Sahab and others, I do not know what is left for me now. But nevertheless, you must have seen the title of the topic, and very first word, is going to be our deliberation for the next 15 minutes. What is that, transformative extension? You must have heard about, frontline extension, field extension. But what is that, word which, we are going to stress here is what are the transformative, extension strategies, for abiotic stress management, and what is the way ahead? In simple terms, the transformative extension could be
You have conducted demonstration, you have conducted, field trial, so on and so forth. What kind of impact it has left over on the farm, nearby farm, and that is on a transformative extension. And in the process, I have listed out about 15 or 20 strategies, or you can say extension innovations or approaches to deal with abiotic stresses in the context of millet production. But after listening to good number of farmers and good number of entrepreneurs and management like DDG extension, DDG NRM, I'm fully convinced that technology per se, we are comfortable. But when it comes to transfer of technology, the extension of results to the farming community and getting feedback from the farming community, perhaps our efforts need to be still enlarged, strengthened, so on and so forth. And after having worked with ICR, with the Minister of Agriculture, with Planning Commission, a couple of national, international assignments, I mean, I'm fully convinced that you may have science, you may have technology, you may have money, you may have schemes and programs. However, if your technology dissemination arrangements are weak or incomplete, then you're back to square number one. Meaning thereby that transmission of technology to the farmers and getting feedback from the farmers, from the field functionaries, back to the science. I mean, that arrangement will have to be far need to be strengthened, need to be made stronger. I mean, across the country and across the subject matter. Next. This is, I think, the fund flow, this PPT flow. I would like to, emphasize on, those two red lines. The earlier ones have already been covered by, most of the speakers. Next. This is, very broadly I have mentioned, contribution of agriculture sector, contribution to agriculture GDP, agriculture export, so on and so forth. Next. This is again, very, very impressive performance of our agriculture sector, which DG sir, mentioned in his remarks. Next. This has been covered by, Dr. Dhawan, Dr. DDG Extension, and many other speakers. Next. This is, the schematic formation, which we can think of, in terms of millets. There are different number of schemes, Government of India schemes, state sector schemes, so on and so forth. Next. This again, I need not elaborate because we have been deliberating on it for the last 2 days. Next. This is perhaps, my intervention will start from this transparency onward. And especially, during the millet year and beyond, as I mentioned earlier, the extension services will have to be refined, will have to be looked into afresh and seen, in context of millet, in the context of abiotic stresses, what sort of arrangements and what sort of innovations we should have. They will follow. Next. When I talk about extension, I believe you will agree with me, it's a huge task. And particularly a country like ours, where we have, 700 districts, 7,000 blocks, maybe 7 lakh, villages, 14, 15 crore farmers. And that also varied, kind of, socio-economic conditions, geographical conditions, resource, conditions, so on and so forth. And therefore, when I think about, all these variations, the last two lines are very important. I mean, having, these kind of challenge, when I talk about extension, Mr. Chairman, sir, agricultural extension is tough articulation and architecture. And particularly those who are working on extension, again, we must appreciate their efforts, because not only that, they deal with science and technology, but work with the farmers. And they take a lot of hits on it. If something is not working in the field, then you have to, see that whether extension arrangements are proper or otherwise. Next. Now this one, I think let us spend a couple of minutes on this. Broadly, there are about 10 extension approaches or methods, or delivery points through which we work with the farmers and extension workers. Number one is research institution outlets get into extension, and the green is more important, where science and technology is the base when you work with the farmer. Number two, we heard development departments and those who are working in the field, the development department outlets, they work for wider application of science and technology through schematic formation, through schematic support. Third one is you have good number of commodity boards, and they have a specific crop specific schemes. Fourth is private sector. Fifth one is banking and financial institutions getting into extension. Sixth one is farmers and farmers organizations, and you have good number of formations and variations. You have self-help groups, farmer organization, farmer producer companies, etc. Seventh is non-government organization is another very good extension instrument. And particularly when I think about mobilizing the farmers, working with the farmer at the grassroots level, then NGOs have an advantage. Then media, print, electronic. Ninth one is very prominent now, social media and internet platforms we are using for extension. And 10th one is you have externally aided projects, World Bank projects, FAO projects, UNDP projects, where you have a chance to get a support of international experiences. Next. Now, what are the agricultural extension innovations and reforms in the context of management of abiotic stresses, and particularly when I talk about millet? Number one, there are 20 points, and we will try to finish it up with the next 10 minutes. Point number one is, this is what DDG sir wanted me to deal with it. Frontline extension and field extension. We all are very clear about the definitions. What has been demonstrated by the science, maybe through Krishi Vignan Kendra or through university scientists or through subject matter specialists, we normally define it as a frontline extension. And what has been demonstrated by the science, we have to take it further down to the blocks, districts, villages, by the development departments mainly, and that is called as a field extension. But as I mentioned earlier, if extension innovation makes a big change, a big transformation, a big spread of innovation, I mean, that I call it as a transformative extension. Slide number one. Now, point number two is farmer empowerment. There was a lot of debate on it. Unfortunately, for example, you have states like Maharashtra or countries like Latin America, Western Europe, America, you name a commodity and there is a farmers organization, and they are playing very important role. But the last line, what is important is when I talk about point number two, empowerment of farmers through agribusiness organizations. What is important is what kind of a business plan that we have for a particular, farmer organization. Next. The third point is, awareness. I think many speakers have mentioned. Because, you see the schematic formation, there are a number of schemes. Schemes coming from Government of India, state government, Jilla Parishad, local administration, non-government organization, so on and so forth. But, the red line is very important. What is the scheme offers to, various categories of the farmers? And that is more important. And that should be made available to the, farmers, whether, he is a resourceful farmer or resource poor farmer. What are the schematic provisions are available and how they should be available and how they should be availed. That is more important. And therefore, we may have to have awareness campaigns, awareness camps, conducted by, development departments, by universities, by Krishi Vignan Kendras, by banking institutions, so on and so forth. Point number 4. Intensive media support. This I, need not explain. There are, print media, there are extension, electronic media, there are now social media, there are internet platforms. But what is important is last line. Whether I use X media or Y media, back up my extension. What is important is content, the treatment, the delivery, the impact and feedback, given through media on my message. Point number 5. Next. Training and capacity building of, farmers, paratechs, development functionaries. We have, n number of institutions. But the submission here is, can we think of, proper input-output relationship between, different training organizations so that it doesn't become repetitive. When it comes to subject matter training, nothing can be better than KVK, nothing can be better than university. But when it comes to, management kind of intervention, perhaps, samitis, management institutions, we may have to integrate their efforts too. Next. Intensification of outreach. I have, demonstrated very successfully in particular village, but how I can go to a next cluster, block, district, these are the, possible, instruments that we may have to have, FLDs, intensive, involvement of, groups and, farming communities, may have to have, value chain kind of approach. And very importantly, last line, linkage with, processing, value addition kind of arrangements. 7. You'll agree with me that, for the crop sector, for the crop sector, willy-nilly, you have, properly defined extension arrangements. But for sectors which are contributing very significantly to agriculture economy, like horticulture, animal husbandry, dairy, fishery, poultry, the extension is, either weak or missing or driven by the private sector. And therefore, when it comes to allied sector, we may have to have, different kind of, combination of extension methods, because public sector extension is slightly weak in the areas which I mentioned. Point number 8. Now, this is very important. Name a scheme, and there is a district level, instrument. For example, every KVK has, district profile, capturing the priorities of different blocks. Government of India schemes, you have comprehensive district agriculture plan, CDAP. The banking institutions, you have a PLP, potential linked credit plan. Watershed, you have another, block level instrument, district level instrument. My, simple submission is, can we look into those kind of instruments, capture the priorities, and then decide the course of action, whether it is on, abiotic stress management or millet, program intensification, etc. Point number 9. Very important point. Because you have, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are 8 or 9 windows for extension. But in a particular village or a block, I mean, how these windows should, come together and work on a convergence platform. How KVK, Atma Feroz, NGOs, development departments, non-government organizations, entrepreneurs, I mean, how they should, come together in a given village, on a given block, or a given cluster, and work on a convergence mode. But convergence is, very, it is better said than done. It has to have, properly defined arrangements and properly outlined roles and responsibilities, for various categories of extension, delivery points. Point number 10. This is, I think Dr. Pathak has, elaborated, even Director Shami Saab has also mentioned in his welcome address. DDG Extension also has emphasized that when you talk about extension in the context of, abiotic stresses, then, we may have to have, a lot of efforts gone towards, making, climate smart agriculture and climate smart farmer. Now, again, these two terms need little bit of elaboration. I have just mentioned, and which Dhawan Sahab has very nicely covered. When I talk about, climate smart farmer, means, he has to be very clear about, soil health management, carbon management, water management, so on and so forth. Next. This is, I mentioned, yesterday when, DDG Extension Sir conducted a parallel program. I was also there. And we took about, 4 or 5 presentations. And there again, I emphasize that when it comes to, climate resilient interventions, then, single farmer, may not move the mountain. You have to have a group action, community action, entire village, getting into the process to replicate the climate resilient intervention. I think here or in somewhere else I had mentioned that the successful experiences coming out of NICRA, I mean, how they should be captured and integrated into the development department programs. KVKs have demonstrated very successful, Reddy Garu. KVKs have successfully demonstrated. Yesterday, somebody mentioned that 151 KVKs have been involved, throughout the country, 5,000 villages, wonderful, outputs. But whether those outputs have been captured, to integrate in our development programs, by the Department of Agriculture, so that, those 5,000 villages get at least, 1 lakh replications. I mean, that is more important. Point number 12. These are the 3 red lines. I worked with Dr. Arunachalam, our agroforestry Jhansi director, and he had got some FAO support. There was a pilot project on extension, and these 3 red lines we tried. That I mean, how to promote the conservation of water through watershed approach, how to promote agroforestry and farm forestry interventions, and how to integrate the changes by promoting IFS model. And results were very promising, very successful in Karnataka, and played again around the KVK. Next. So there are 20 points. I'm now go to 13. This I mentioned, climate smart, farmer, and Dr. Dhawan sir also very clearly mentioned that you have to have more number of farmer scientist interaction, FSI, plowing back the lessons coming out of NICRA. I'm repeating, promoting climate smart agriculture, climate smart farmer. But when I think about climate smart farmer, those last 3 lines are very, very important. Number 1 is increase focus on productivity, integrate the resilience kind of practices, and reduce emissions. Point number 14. When I think about, the climate smart agriculture, millet, or, cutting across the production line, what is important is the role of women and, farm youth. Today's farm youth is not, interested in the primary agriculture. But, if you give him an option of, industrial kind of, enterprise, linked, very well with the market and linked with, with the farmers, maybe by, promoting, IT platforms and, branding his own activities, promoting his own activities. If he gets a high-tech kind of application, then today's youth in agriculture is interested. When I talk about, women in agriculture, the last line is very important. Women are also interested in a business kind of activities, agribusiness kind of activities. However, to what an extent our credit, input, and instant interventions for women entrepreneurs are streamlined, and that is a big question. Point number 15. This is, the presentation before me was an excellent example. I mean, how the public-private participation can be, promoted. Magar sir, promoted, that company took advantage of, local demand, connected with the market, and, promoted, PPP kind of arrangement, for promotion of millet. The last, two lines are, very important when I talk about, extension interventions and its replication. Can we think of DDG sir and co-chair millet entrepreneurs as extension agents? Rather than depending upon, development department, VW, can we use millet entrepreneurs? Now, for example, Purandare, that my earlier speaker, I believe he can be a very good extension agent, for the farmers. No doubt, he will look, business opportunity, but at the same time, we can use him or her as a, extension agent. There's one more submission, the blue line. A lot of agriculture MBA graduates, IT graduates are trying to get a space in, agriculture sector, allied sector, because the business and service sectors are slowly, getting saturated. But agriculture and allied sectors, they are sunrise sector. A lot of, business opportunities are there. And I personally feel, Honorable Chairman, sir, let us promote, agribusiness MBAs, IT graduates in agriculture and allied activities, provide them space through IT platforms. Because the next generation extension is going to be digital extension. And these, young fellows with the bright brains are ready to get, the best of, connecting the farmers, connecting the markets, and, promoting their own, IT platforms. There's a big opportunity for agriculture sector. I have been submitting to Honorable DG sir also, Honorable Secretary Agriculture also, that this is the time that agri MBAs and agri IT type of graduates, should get into agriculture and, promote their businesses at the cluster level. Next. 16, market integration. The moment, you have aggregated, platforms, for production, for marketing, the price discovery and, return for the produce will be better. And the submission is, you may have, the production. If you're an organized group, perhaps, you may not be defeated by the market. But if you're a small producer, single-handedly taking tucker with the market, perhaps you may not be able to, succeed. The submission here is, in value chain, can we promote aggregated approach, whether it is production, application of inputs, fighting out, with the markets, price discovery, so on and so forth. Next. Sir, only 3 points are remaining. NICRA, I mentioned that, wonderful experiment, happening throughout the country. But submission is what is coming out of NICRA or, international experiences of ICRISAT. or international experience of, other international organizations, how they should be captured in our programs and activities. But again, mind you, when it comes to climate change, single farmer, may not be able to, fight it out. We may have to have a community action, village action, cluster action, so on and so forth. Next. Research in extension. I mean, this is, very crucial area, but a very weak area. Because, DG sir will agree with me. Co-chairman, with DDG sir and co-chairman will agree with me that, there is a lot of emphasis on transfer of technology. But for the life sciences, physical sciences, you have a knowledge generating from the laboratories. There's a chemistry lab, there is a soil testing lab, there is a, physical lab, so on and so forth. But in extension, the generation of knowledge, you do not have labs. And therefore, here I have submitted that every KVK, or every Atari, every Samiti, every Atma, I mean, they should be our labs. What is coming out of that, Dhawan sir, if it is captured properly, perhaps our, technology dissemination arrangement can be refined better. There is one more point, I don't know whether it is in 19 or I can cover here itself. The feedback collected from the farms, from the development functionaries, if it is documented properly, if it is analyzed properly, then perhaps we should be able to give a better signal to DDG, a better signal to the Vice Chancellor, better signal to Secretary Agriculture, and better signal to Extension Management. Meaning thereby that we may have to have a very strong mechanism for collection of the feedback, documentation of the feedback, analyzing the feedback, and providing that feedback signals, to the research, management, policy. This is what, DDG Sahib is mentioning again and again. What are the policy options that are coming up, through our field actions? Because, Principal Secretary Agriculture or a Minister Sahib, would be definitely interested. Okay, bhai, you have done very well in 1 village, 20 villages, 30 villages. But, my, canvas is much, much bigger. 33 districts in Maharashtra, maybe 300 blocks in Maharashtra. And therefore, our efforts going through, R&D organizations, should be able to capture a better feedback for policy refinement. Next. This is, another, fortunately, we have a, good number of Vice Chancellors. Magar Sahib is there, Dhawan Sahib is there, DDG Sahib himself, was a Vice Chancellor. I have, submission here that let there be a review of Dean's Committee report. They set the agenda for, curricula. My submission is agriculture education. Let agriculture education reflect in these numbers. Let, at least 30% graduates should be converted into as entrepreneurs. Maybe 20% can go to higher education, 20% can go to public sector jobs, 20% can go to private sector jobs, and maybe 10% can think about getting jobs abroad. Next. 20 R&D linkages. They are available at various levels, but the cutting edge level is district level. And Honorable Vice Chancellors are aware about it. You have scientific advisory committee for every KVK, and then you have management committee for every Atma. Headed by collector or a district magistrate or whatever. And how these two organizations are playing effective role in capturing the local R&D priorities. And that's more important. If your SAC is properly coordinated, properly organized, properly decision recorded and properly followed up, same thing is applicable to the Atma pillow. If that these two instruments, if we make it little active, proactive, R&D linkages can be properly captured. Next. This I explained. Collation of the feedback, management of the feedback, and giving proper signals to policy planners program management and R&D.
Last slide, sir.
Next. The last one, I believe, sir. This is, DDG sir is aware about it. On 7th and 8th, we organized, Minister of Agriculture organized a very big conference. Honorable, Tomar sir was sitting there on 7th and 8th, right from morning till evening. DG ICR, coordinated this program. And the debate was on, what should be the future line of extension? I mean, how the extension should look like, for the next 2 decades. And the conclusion was, those 4 points. All our future strategies and extension, should be moving on digital line, private sector participation, convergence and coordination, and climate smart agriculture and gender and youth equity issues cutting across the production line. Next. There are about, 19 indicators against those, 4, pointers. Digital extension, private sector participation, climate smart agriculture, and, that 4th one. Now here, almost, we are coming to the end of my presentation. I mentioned here that extension innovations and reforms are very much required when I talk about abiotic stress management. Public and the private sector extension service providers will have to play a very major role. There has to be focus on agro-climatic zones and sub-zones. Fortunately, that kind of classification is available for every state. Entrepreneurs, startups, and partnerships should be promoted. High-tech applications and IT platforms, should come up in future extension. Because without high-tech IT platforms, future extension, may not be able to, move. And ultimately, we should move towards climate smart agriculture and climate smart farmer. Yesterday, I was talking to Honorable Director that, okay, after this seminar, you have to have a set of recommendations. But what should we do with that set of recommendations? Can we pick up a few of the recommendations and pilot them, through university, through KBK, through Atma Fellows, through, private sector organizations, so on and so forth. Next. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, Director of the Institute, ICR Management, senior professionals, and other stakeholders. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. We are already late for half an hour. So, Dr. Magar sir, want to say something? Yeah.
Chairman, sir. Today, really, I'm very happy. And I would like to appreciate excellent lecture, informative, very knowledgeable, and given a systematic way of transforming the knowledge generated by agriculture universities or the farmer to farmers, whatever may be. So I appreciate. I consider myself fortunate that I could remain present to have lectures. But I have only one question or doubt, whatever you say. National Agriculture Commission, it was established 2004, headed by the great scientist, Dr. Swaminathan. Chairman, sir, you know very well. Report was published by 2006. That is also correct, everything. What was the cream of that report? Whatever the cost of cultivation, whatever may be X, Y, Z cost of cultivation, and then the farmers, whatever may be cropping pattern, intensity, whatever may be things, but the farmers gets 50%. I am not saying doubling the production and but my concern is 50% farmers get made up, should get. That was a sale income. Now, ultimately, you have shown so many things, crucial interventions, market interventions, price, register, etc. You have so many. I agree. Perfect philosophy. Sir, DDG has published a book, very good book. DDG Dr. Kokate. I have a copy of that book. And I'm advising each and every extension worker to go through the books, even a history of extension innovations since 1947. Very nice book, I think. But still, I feel that your lecture is better than that. It should be collaborated very nicely. I will not take much time, but only I have one question as a farmer. Sir, in all sense, you haven't mentioned anywhere MSP, minimum support price. My teacher told me that cropping patterns are never dictated. It is generated out of profit. शेतकऱ्याला अमकच पीक घ्या असं सांगायची काही जरूर नाहीये. शेतकऱ्याला ज्याच्यातून उत्पन्न ऊस का आला, कॅश क्रॉप आल्या, व्हेजिटेबल्स का आले, that depends upon the market and minimum support price. Why our millets are saying minor, minor, minor? And minor का म्हणायचो minor? Why minor? Why not major? Why cash crop? Those crops getting benefits real farmers. And I say that which is a real farmer? The farmers minimum, any sort of, even a marginal farmer, he keeps in his bank minimum balance of 1 lakh rupees. I call he's a real farmer. शेतीच्या फायद्यातून जेव्हा शेतकरी 1 लाख रुपये आपल्या बँकेत ठेवत जाईल, माझ्यासारखा म्हणजे आमच्या हे सारखा म्हणजे नोकर वर्गासारखा आमचा. Sir, I have request that the minimum support price in case of sugarcane, this is FRP or minimum support price. I think in your whole systems, you give the emphasis on minimum support price, how to work out, and then farmers will be benefited. Why? What is happening today in case of onion, tomato, all these things?
Sir,
please. Thank you very much for your nice presentation.
No, sir, but I am sorry to interrupt. I'll sit with you. Maybe during lunchtime, we will have a little more talk with Dhawan sir, with DDG sir, with director. And my submission is, let us capture 1 or 2 areas and see whether we can pilot them. Fortunately, funding sources are available, including, as I mentioned to you, sir, the director said, NISF, National Agricultural Science Fund, can be one area where we can try, some funding support. Thank you very much. Magar sir, I will sit with you. I believe they have, sir, a time limitation.
Yeah, of course, the time is running fast. Only I have a small submission. He has made a mention about induction of IT professionals in the extension activities. I have a little difference of opinion here. What I feel, basic agriculture graduates, knowledge with agriculture, and if they opt for MBAs, there we must make a sufficient provision for IT-related syllabus, so that basic knowledge in agriculture and systematic training in IT tools, and they could be more effective extension worker than the IT professional and all. That's my submission.
Thank you. So thank you, Shivananda sir. And I think, sir, the chairman, I make a thanks to all speakers, especially Bora Prasad, myself, Dr. E.S. Dhawan, Dr. Tatya Sahib, and Dr. Vishwadamate. So, and also thanks to reporter, Dr. Our two report, Dr. Pawar and Dr. Gakwar. Then audience for listening very patiently, because I think this supposed to be concluded in the 11 a.m. Now we are just touching to 12. So 3 hours, and I saw our director is very, because they are after follow these next programs, our military function. So most of the scientists are going, they are making plan to move 12:30 to 1 p.m. today. So I thanks to, if you want to say something. Doctor.
Okay, sir, time we are lagging behind. So my submission is that let's wind up this session. We had very good deliberations with the authorities in the field. So I think the next program is for poster presentations or valediction function.
So that's already going
Okay.
on.
Okay, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, thank all our wonderful speakers of this keynote session, rapporteurs, chairman and co-chairman, sir, for handling the session so nicely. And I now request chairman and co-chairman, sir, to felicitate our keynote speakers with a moment of please. Sir, please come onto the center stage. The first one, Dr. A.S. Dhawan, sir, former Vice Chancellor BNMKB Parvani, for his lecture on edaphic stresses and their management for enhancing productivity and quality of millets. Dhawan, sir, please come on the stage. Hey, sir. Already has. And director, sir, please come on the side and join the chairman and co-chairman.
So there are possibilities of being a standing. Yeah,
And next, Mr. Tatya Sai Partere for his presentation on millet opportunities, a new hope for dryland agriculture. Tatya ji, please come on the stage. Next, Dr. V.V. Sadamate, sir, for his presentation on extension strategies for managing abiotic stresses. It's time for our reporters for nicely reporting the keynote session key points. So first is Dr. S.S. Power, sir, from ICR Niyazam Baramati. And Dr. Bhaskar Bharat Gaikwad, sir, from ICR Niyazam Baramati. Twelve thirty. Sir, now I request Director Sir and Magar Sir to felicitate our co-chairman, sir, Dr. Rajbir Singh, sir, ADG, Agronomy, Agroforestry and Climate Change, for gracing the occasion. Thank you so much, sir. Now it's time to felicitate our chairman, sir, Dr. E.V.S. Gautam, sir, DDG Agriculture Extension, for chairing as well as presenting a keynote lecture on innovative extension tools for scaling up of abiotic stress management technologies. सर दोनों है सर, एक चेयरमैन का है, एक कीनोट लेक्चर का है. Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing the honors. Now we officially conclude the keynote session 2 of this national seminar on millets. So there are two important announcements. First one is those who are having departure today have to update their departure plans on the front registration desk if not done already. And next is we all have to assemble here at 12:30 sharp for the validatory session. Yes. Thank you.
ये ना जो है